used to view you as a mountain that I couldn't climb at first, but I've only stumbled over diamonds and I no longer fear the worst.
We'll still have common days. Put off your term papers till the last minute. Eat cold pizza right out of the fridge. Update your fantasy roster. This is not one of those days. A few weeks a year and you'll discover the most uncommon time of your life.
And welcome to what is the final week of competition here for our NECC playoffs in Overwatch Division 3 and Division 1. My name is Tiny Shiny, joined by Twin Salty, as we look to crown 2 title winners through our collegiate competition.
Yeah, we have 2 title games tonight here at NECC. One for Division 3 in the Central Conference, and then one for Division 1 for the overall. And that'll be pretty good games here tonight, hopefully, here as, yeah, we have some grand finalists going at it.
Yeah, they're going to be looking to head it off in 2 best-of-7s, mind you, so the longest series that they will have played throughout the course of the season. And it'll be our Division 3 Central matchup to start us off. It will be the undefeated Carthage College Firebirds taking on Wright State University for that spot. Best-of-7, and through the single elim bracket, only have one that will come out on top.
Yeah, we look here at the rosters. Carthage has been fantastic so far. They actually both come from Group A here in the Central Division, so all of the Group B teams are out. Carthage got the better of Wright State just about a month ago, March 16th, in a sweep. They also dropped their first map of the entire semester last week in the semifinals, so maybe showing that they can't bleed here, the Firebirds, but the Raiders still have a tough order ahead of them.
I was going to say, one map dropped over the course of, 9 series throughout the season?
Yeah.
Not bad for a team. In fact, pretty darn near perfect. And last time these two met, it was not close. And I think for Carthage College, you feel really good heading into this matchup. You have all of the wind in your sails you could possibly ask for. But if you're Wright State, you're still the number 3 seed that was coming in. We're in the same division as Carthage College, so the numbers 2, or not in the division, same conference, excuse me, in Central A. So once they know each other. They've played each other before and have an idea of what to expect. Now, how will that actually unfold on the day of? Because everything's been wiped clean. We had a patch just recently as well that these teams can adjust to.
Yeah, brand new season patch, but Sierra, the new DPS, is not playable tonight. She's a little bit too new to throw in for a grand final here. So Sierra, even after today's kind of hotfix patch to kind of boost her a little bit, she was really struggling, it felt like, everywhere. But overall, she is not just going to be played tonight. Don't need to worry about her, but all of the rest of the changes are active for these grand finals. And maybe a little bit of switch up. Vendetta, who has ruled the meta pretty much for months and months and months, really isn't top tier DPS anymore. She's still very solid. She has her place, but that shield nerf and her armor health nerf, I should say, hurt her a lot. And her range, especially on the overhead strike, got nerfed. So maybe not as much of a Vendetta meta. We're kind of shifting away from that now.
She's kind of given a death sentence, not gonna lie, in that last patch. I think if we do see it, it will have to be with you're perma-bubbling this Vendetta, all of the resources are going into it. So it depends on what strategies these teams have been working on throughout the course of the season. But speaking of developments with the NECC playoffs here, we got to talk about a little bit about the Forge trials that we were in. Thanks to the Armenian National Guard, they are presenting the Forge trials here for us today. So find your calling at nationalguard.com. Fantastic partner throughout the course of the season, and helps highlight all of these fantastic teams, players, and collegiate programs that we have competing throughout every single game title, which there are quite a few finals being played across tonight. So make sure you are, again, keeping an eye out for those other pieces. But today's about Overwatch, Jesse, and we do have our first map pick in for Carthage College. They are going to elect to go to Ilios.
Yeah, Ilios, so not Lijiang Tower, not the collegiate special to start off here. Can feel a little bit odd, but here are the bans already. Carthage, Lucio ban. If you're going to play Ilios, a lot of the time the Lucio is a big factor. but he has been exiled, and so has Farah from Right State. With Vendetta kind of falling away from the meta, Farah and Echo have really started to come back in. So that is a big piece to ban out.
Yeah, and Farah got a decent buff, too,
Yeah.
with that Concussive Blast, now doing a flat 50 damage, I believe. So combos can be scary, especially on vertical maps like this. It does open the door more for that Echo, as you mentioned. But we will be starting off on Ruins here for round number 1. This tends to be the more hit-scanny poke type of map. You can dive it out. There are options, but I feel like more often than not, we see teams either hard commit to dive or hard commit to poke.
Yeah, especially here on Ruins. Probably the most likely we're going to see the poke is going to be here. Well, especially more see dive once we get over to Lighthouse and Well. But even now, these teams wanting to show more of the dive themselves with some new guests here. The Jetpack Cat from both teams being teased, but we'll have to wait and see if that's actually going to be the case. I have a feeling some shenanigans are currently in order.
I feel like Right State might do it. Carthage
Yeah.
Comp feels a little too silly at the immediate moment, but Duvall, oh, look at this guy, ready to roll out on this cat and has the venture in tow. So in fact, no, Hollister will also be playing it. We have Jetpack Cat v Jetpack Cat action to start off our Division 3 Central Finals.
And a Mercy Echo. So this is
Wow.
very odd comp from Carthage. They just want to kind of move everybody around, try and create a little bit of chaos, hope that ZXC or Ferocious Pay can help clean up one of the early kind of booper rounds from Chicken Fries, but this is a very boomer bust comp.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be really hard for Ferocious Pig, especially looking how vertical Right State's comp is. One thing that he can do is go after this Emray, try to buy space. Chicken Fries had so much focus fire on him in the front that it was rep. She'll manage to burn through the hamster rather quickly. It'll be a Right State first cap.
Yeah, Right State will get over first, and the only map that Carthage have lost so far this season was last week to NIU on Control. So maybe this has been the weakness for the Firebirds, and won't be changing it up too much quite yet.
Another pile drive in from Chicken Fries. Like, you see how quickly that health bar explodes when he goes for these pile drives. And it's hard to get either ZXC or Ferocious Pig in a consistent spot to follow up. It's not a ton of uptime from this Firebirds composition so far. Hollister, though, in a heap of trouble, 12 HP. Managed to get overdue the health pack, but Jumpy Wizard, she's not throwing all that much better. Working so difficult to keep this team alive, even with the Flash Heal edition. You have the Resurrect available without the Chicken Fries tank. It's gonna be even harder for this Firebirds team to find a way into this fight.
Yeah, that's been the struggle right now. Every time some sort of initiation goes through, nothing can be capitalized on, and Rep has done a great job so far. She is just locking it down. Ferocious Pig gone, but now the duplicate double ball.
Yeah, double hamster on the board. Another change to Echo. You can now duplicate the teammates, but it'll be very short-lived for ZXC. It's been a hamster murder trade for Right State constantly on these fast mobile heroes, and I don't think we've even seen a pile drive follow up on because of how quickly they've been turning Chicken Fries.
Yeah, this has just not worked out so far from Carthage, and maybe a swap coming out from Jumpy, and eventually, there it is. The Warrior, but also
Woo!
catnapping from Devil will just slow this fight out even longer. As it will be just kind of holding out here. Is Right State self-destruct available here for Rep? Crowd is going to use it on the point to distract and stall for a little bit more time if things get a little bit sticky.
They're gonna look to get the last part in, the Ender in the skies with the override protocol. It's huge bursts of damage, and there's no way for Hollister to get out of that one alive. Right State shining bright here on round number 1 of Helios. Nice last shot from Ender. Clean this one up. So it looks like Carthage up for a gamble here on their own map pick of Helios.
Yeah, so far, their first map pick is gone haywire. Right State clean 100-0 so far, and just, yeah, a great performance to start out here on Ilios. As it will go over to Lighthouse for our second round. Take a look at the scoreboard here. It's just no deaths for Lynx, Rep, or Avers Puma, I should say. So just kind of crazy to think only 2 members so far of Red State have died even at all.
Yeah, and this is just utter domination, I think, from Right State. We talk about when you see these Wrecking Ball comps, it pulls at teams who struggle with synergy and focus fire, but Right State, single hive mind here for this roster, and it's going to force some changes out of the Firebirds as they approach the second round.
Yeah, here we go. This high ground setup, and the ball has been abandoned by Chicken Fries, more of that default diva that we've seen even after the new season patch. Diva still quite a force to be reckoned with because you can make plays like this with the rest going on. Ferocious Pig just lighting it up, and it'll be Carthage will be able to cap for the first time as soon as they can get back to point.
The Carthage back over. It is already much better. I think Chicken Fries has much more survivability on this diva as opposed to the Wrecking Ball. And we'll see the setups of the dives for Ferocious Pigs too.
Yeah, just stretching it out. Just Devil sitting up on top. Just trying to be a little bit of a nuisance, but also do a little bit of scouting on where everything is set up. And ZXC, this is kind of the bonus here for the Jetpack Cat. Emre has complete range in a spot where normally the hit scans can't get to.
Yeah, there's just nothing that you can do about ZXC except invest like so many resources to get up there, and that is where the Jetpack Cat will find benefit on maps like these, where you can just stick a hit scan in a legal position, although he's not super healthy at that point in time. It's Ferocious Pig actually that comes up with 2 Chicken Fries assisting in the setup. Those are those kind of synergistic dives that we expected from the Firebirds.
Yeah, now Firebird's starting to warm up into a 4K by the end for Ferocious Pig and starting to settle in now into this grand final. Again, best of 7. So a long series ahead of us potentially here. Is Ilios looking more and more like it will go all the way to round 3. It's still 0 ultimates even on the board. That's just how slow and drawn out these fights have been.
Taking their time, and I think that's when you're playing these dive comps, you have to look for the staging. What Carthage have been doing is disrupting that staging phase. For Right State, similar to wanted with that dive comp, Ferocious Pig will be forced to use the duplicate at the front part of this fight, and I just kind of sent it in. It was more of a I need to get out alive thing, and thankfully have the coverage of Chicken Fries to make sure it's okay. Or Jumpy Wizard, in fact, who pounced on to the Tracer in the meantime, and this is Final Fight territory already for Carthage, a massive turnaround from round 1.
Yeah, seems like a complete 180 from how they were playing over on Ruins, and it looks like we will be heading to well as Red State throwing some stuff in here, trying to get over, but the self-destruct is sent off the map.
Yeah, but it's both divas that have been eliminated, so neither team has a tank. A nice shot from ZXC mid-air. Well, get a bit more of a burst down, but it's Right State must be the ones to touch. You still have both the portals in the tank, but who is alive to use it? It's the Bow and Lynx, though. They get each of their support throws. Wait a minute. That Jetpack Cat getting way too much value for what they bargained for. But at the end of the day, ZXC will drop down 6 HP to spare and clutch this one up for Carthage. We're heading to round 3 after 2 full sweeps in the opposite directions.
6 HP in a dream. At that point, you just gotta pray those shots line up. And then a kunai just misses your head barely. But what a clean answer there from the Firebirds to bring us over to well for our final round here on map 1. Yeah, like you said, round 1, complete dominance from Red State. Second round, the complete opposite. Now we can see which one will stand tall. But I think this Diva swap has really helped kind of settle in the Firebirds. A little bit more of a simple play and game plan, rather than the chaos that can come with that Wrecking Ball comp.
And Diva's just so strong right now. I feel like you're putting yourself at a deficit if you have that hero in your pool and you're choosing not to use it, especially on a map like Ilios. As we roll out here, I think it was First Pig, honestly, for Carthage. That was the star of the show, when you're able to get some support from the tank side of things. You see how Red State are able to set up. I think we've seen the strong focus fire that this roster can have. It's just a matter of how can you nail down one of these very mobile targets.
And here we go. It'll just be the Jetpack Cat assisting their Emre. Get ZXC up on the high ground, but what can you do with it?
And I got the position, and Right Side do have the points. That is a much better start for them, but Ender, not a ton of health to work with. It's kind of this tussle for the high ground. It actually is Ferocious Pig who lead a bomb from Ender, who's chucked from downtown. turns out to be a 1-for-1 without Rep in her mech. It's gonna be so difficult for them to continue on this fight further, so it has to be on someone else, and it is still this Emre out of Ender already. 75% to the override protocol. That is how much work he has put into this fight. Almost goes down there, but will end up getting out alive. So Right State really leaning on their hit scan.
Yeah, you can see Emerson played all over the place, whether it be in World Cup, Conference Cups today for EMEA, or even OWCS last weekend. Emery remains a high point in this meta, and so far we can see why. And maybe Ender is a big reason that Red State could start to bring this one back. Like you said, almost 40% ult advantage right now.
40%, and they're looking to extend that further. I mean, not only is Ender going to get the ultimate, but Ferocious Pig, you just can't fly into occupied airspace by yourself. The Bull has that lockdown with his jetpack cat. So the stackers are huge. This is what Right State had did so well on round number 1, is make sure there wasn't a setup at all from their opponents, and they're going to do it again. Hollister falls well before anybody on Carthage is ready to go in, and we're at nearing final fight territory as Avers Puma comes up with another.
Yeah, right now Carthage just seems so split, cannot get a solid full team fight to go their way. And just like that, like you said, similar to round 1, it's felt like kind of one real fight and then 2 or 3 skirmishes that has brought Right State to 1 match point.
One more chance here now for the Firebirds. I mean, they're gonna have ults to do it. But how can you get the value if you can't get to the fight? Hollister and Jumpy Wizard, look how low that he is on this Kiriko. This Kitsune Rush absolutely has to make it onto the objective. But no, we won't see it. Lynx will find a final kunai across the map to shut him down. The ball dragging the D.Va into the mech, gives his life for it. But I'd say that is a trade well worth taking. Rep will have her mech back, ready to go for the final remnants of what is looking to be this Elios round. Ender, last chance here, pulls out this override protocol, matching ZXC in the skies. Let's get a D-Mech onto Rep, and Hollister's back in the fight. The Firebirds managed to bide their time long enough, get the flip back over out of the point. That was Puma, throws that straight into Chicken Fries. The Fence Matrix, no pulse bomb to be seen, and what should have been a Right State confirmed fight slipped through their clutches, and Carthage will hold on.
Yeah, just when you think this game is done, right? Like, this map should be over. Right State not able to clean it up. Carthage stay alive, and now they have ult advantage because Right State threw everything at that fight, thinking they could just finish it off. It doesn't matter what your ult economy is if the map is done. But all of a sudden it's not, and it's looking a little bit dicey. Already a third of the way there is Carthage. They have the catnapping and self-destruct to work off of. If they kind of play this slow, they could bring this all the way back.
Oh, but Avers Puma is so good at initiating on these points and fighting these pickoffs on the Tracer. That's 2 now. Torver to them. Jumpy Wizard dunks Rep into the well. She is gone. So it'll make it a little bit harder for the Raiders to close this one out. But Jumpy Wizard, she's taking this into her own paws. That's a second now towards the cat. Will get caught in the wall at the end of the day, but it forces every other resource out of Right State and Carthage alike. A potential reset in order is at least what you would think. How low Chicken Fries is. And Ferocious Pig comes up with 2 that absolutely should not have happened. Right State, they just needed to be patient, but no, the Echo gets them by surprise.
Echo on the flank finds 2, denies the override protocol from Ender, and now a lot of the pressure sits on Avers Puma to land this pulse bomb, not have it eaten up again by Chicken Fries to turn this one around, but time is a-ticking.
Last chance now for Right State. Got it this close. So many things need to go their way to get it that far. And if Devol especially can get this catnapping off, I mean, he's got to live first. At least onto the D.Va. That'd be a great start, but under so much pressure. And ZXC lasering through this cat's health bar.
Ender?
But that's 2 already down. Ender took some self-damage from somewhere. And Right State, things are starting to look rather grim for them. Carthage Firebirds 1 step ahead. When it came to the end of this map, ZXC does end up going down mid-override protocol. A lot of value from Rep, but she's just a one-tank army. There's only so much that she can do on this final fight with the health bars Carthage have. Is it will be a Firebirds map 1. Talk about back and forth.
Just all over the place here in map 1, but the top seed hold on to win their map pick to start us off here in the D3 Central Final. But these two teams, haymakers across the board. And yeah, round one and round two, very similar in how they played out, just on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And we almost got that in its own map and own round in round three. It felt like Wright State ran away with it. They fumble the bag in that fight, and all of a sudden Carthage just bring it all the way back around, and they steal away Ilios.
Perhaps the 3-0 of this last series doesn't tell the full tale of what happened in that regular season game between Carthage College and Wright State University. And I'm very excited to see how this continues to unfold. But Jesse, we are going to throw it to a quick break. I have been told my mic is using my webcam right now, so we're going to fix that, and we'll come back to you with the continuation of our Division III Central Finals. So we'll see you in a bit.
Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard.
So sorry about that, brief tech difficulty, but hopefully doesn't sound like I'm talking from a microwave now, and we can proceed with our game. It was, I don't even know if I can, do we call that a close map one with how one-sided it was both ways? Could we say that? Is that allowed?
Just a very flip-floppy type of close map. It was just a very odd one, right? If you're just joining us, go back in the VOD, watch like that whole map. It was odd, to say the least. But we're going to Eichenwald for our next map here in this one. Ana is going to be the initial ban from Wright State. Ramacha will be the answer. Ramacha actually got some buffs. So maybe not the worst ban. I still think this is probably more dive-centric for most of it. Maybe once you get to third phase, yeah, you're probably running it down on Azaria or something like that. But I think the Ana is going to be a giant ban because especially recently, I don't know about you and your games, Ana just shows up on Castle once you get to second phase. Yeah. Feels like you can't do anything.
And she also got a massive buff to her Bionate. Cooldown reduced by 2 seconds. And hey, Blizzard loves Ana. I'm a fan of seeing Ana gameplay, and this would be an Ana map if Wright State just said, It is a Wright State map pick, though. So they do have a plan going into this, and they did sub in Rev for Rep. So Rev seems to start on the Domina by the looks of it. This is a much more bunker down type of setup as opposed to the dive from last time, but we're still gonna keep the Vol jetpack cap.
Are we doing this?
I would love to see this.
Please tell me we're. I actually have not seen this particular set play yet. Oh, Carthage is going to be in a world of hurt. I will say Chicken Fries hopefully should have full DM. They should be able to eat up most of this. It depends on how they time this all. This is a very brutal poke comp from Wright State. Let's see how the Firebirds want to deal with it, but this is going to be fun.
I mean, Ferocious Pig, we'll have an opportunity, but we'll have the surprise of his life. He's like, what in the world did I just roll out into? Yeah, sorry, buddy. You can't get out of that one. Ender and Devol. What a fun duo. Something you don't expect to see in a finals, and Chicken Fries gets caught out of it, too. Oh, that's either a back to the spawn or off the map. I don't think you could have asked for a better start for Wright State.
Given how map 1 went, I think we were bound for a wacky start, but this is wacky. Molly, just Air Force 1 in the air, but eventually Ferocious Pig takes down Ender, and now this defense gets a little bit more tricky here for the Raiders. It'll be practically a 3v5 as Deval goes back to spawn to taxi back Ender.
I was gonna say, I feel like yours doesn't really do much. Like, maybe you get past the choke a little, but you can still easily set up this flank. And Ender is looking to shred through ZXC, but has to be a little more cautious. Instead, it's Rev who will get burned down. And I think that is the weaker point of this comp is if this Bastion doesn't work or they don't pay attention to it, well, your Dama will get mowed over. A couple sticky bombs from Ferocious Pig force Ender back on this little duo part. It's a send Lynx, who's been on the ground this whole time, basically solo supporting, that comes up with both DPS and Hollister on top of it. What a heroic play from the flex support out of Right State. Not something you see every day. I'd say he's earned a cookie for that one.
What am I watching?
Great
Like,
question.
we've seen over the years, like we've casted Division 10. We've done
Division
anything
10.
and everything here at NECC. This has got to be one of the most fun strats I have ever seen.
But, like, what
Like,
do you do if you're Carthage?
I don't know. I really don't. I think Ferocious Pig has to basically be on Jetpack Bastion duty. You almost have to go for Duval rather than Ender, even though you want to end the damage. But it's way better if you kind of kill Duval and then Ender's just going to drop. And it'd be an easier finish, but that's easier said than done.
You do get Avros Puma, so that is a great start. Like, I think if you're Carthage, do your best to ignore this Bastion.
Oh my god.
And go for the rest of the team, which was the general idea here. And they did it well last time onto Rev. The Lynx has a Kitsune Rush. This Tire is coming back from spawn, essentially. Explodes Hollister. I don't know how winnable it is. Ender eventually gets dropped out of the sky as Duval win for the final blow on ZXC. It appears Carthage Firebirds have cracked through this composition, but it took them almost 3 minutes to do it.
Yeah, it took just a little bit of time for them to get through, but eventually, if you just ignore, like you said earlier, ignore the Bastion, ignore the Jetpack Cat, you just try and take the 3v4, 3v5, and hope that you'll win it in time before the Bastion becomes a big issue. This set play, though, will continue to be a struggle for Carthage to counter out. There's a lot of architecture here in Castle for the Bastion to play around. It's going to make things difficult, but again, you just walk through, kill Everest Puma.
Yeah, you just gotta ignore the Bastion as best as you can.
Yeah.
It's the supports run away and see if you can live. That time, Jumpy Wizard, unfortunately, she just could not escape the clutches of Duval, but they're gonna keep hovering. Right State, they don't have control of the high ground right now, and this build's gonna keep moving regardless.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the game plan here from Right State. You have Ender and Devil, you know, well, now it's just Devil. Trying to contest point, wait for everything else to happen. As Devil may get the diva here. No, not enough time to get chicken fries off.
And I think also got caught on the edge of the castle wall there, too.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for Devil, but Right State, and you got Panopticon to work with from Rev. It would be difficult to get value out of it. We could at least slow one of these faster pushes that Carthage Firebirds have been working with. In fact, it's going to be a tempo beat out of Jumpy Wizard. The ball explodes thanks to ZXC on the low ground, who's been frying away on the Cassidy. And I don't know, for Right State, it worked once. I don't think it's working anymore.
I think it's time to swap. At least for me, granted, you have the ult here from Ender. Maybe you try and pop that before you make the swap, but now we're inside. There's only so many places for you to fly. Devil already finding that out.
Stickies.
And this is going to get bad before it gets, even worse before it gets better, I fear. For Red State is yeah, wow. Swapping, I'm guessing, here for Rev. You gotta be here. Probably to Zarya. There it is.
Yeah, Zarya Vendetta. We were kind of wondering whether we would see this or not today, just with the significance of those Vendetta nerfs, but Rev gonna look to invest a lot in Avros Puma dives. Ferocious Pig has also been a big issue for this team, but it is Avros Puma already finding value out of that swap. Will turn into 1-for-1, which favors Right State since they are on the defense, but you can't lose much more than you already have. Chicken Fries running it down with Ferocious Pig and this duplicated rally, essentially gatekeeping this team in their spawn doors. And that's going to do it here for this Eichenwald push as Carthage finished with 2.5 minutes left on this time bank. It was great while it lasted, Jesse, but at some point, I think the trigger needed to be pulled.
Yeah, just maybe a little late on getting that swap out, and I understand they probably had this set play going. And granted, for the first fight or two, yeah, Carthage, you could tell we're just looking up like, what do we do? Like, what is the game plan here? Because it's obviously not a normal strat that you would go against during scrims. But eventually, Carthage figure it out. They just take those 3v4s, 3v5s, and just run it. And Right State did not make any adaptations in time. I think the Zarya was a decent answer. It just took a lot of time for that to go through. And I think Lucio Kiri, there's a reason why it's been top meta for, God, a year, almost pretty much an entire collegiate year, at least. It has been meta. There's a reason for it, and right now Jumpy and Hollister are doing a great job of showing why.
There's so much utility between those two with the speed. It's faster, survivable, and it is far and away the most optimal support comp. It's not to say other things can't be run. You're just making your own life more difficult by choosing to run it at times. And let's say Carthage on this defense. We'll put Ferocious Pig back on the Venture. I like that a lot for the first point and these closer holds, but I think it will be still difficult to deal with this Jetpack Cat unless ZXC is fully on it with chicken fries to chase down. In fact, as you know, it'll be the Devil swapping for the first time over to the break.
And I don't mind this. Especially on the defense, you can kind of fend off Ferocious Pig and a few of the other dives that are bound to come in with this, but let's see how it works out. I do think it's more consistent than what the Jetpack was giving out.
So they're a little bit slower, which you can see Jumpy Wizard speeding her team into this fight. It was more so can I get assistance to Ferocious Pig in time? The answer was no. Slight overextension from the Venture player. So Right State have some room to work with, and that's Puma on the Symmetra too. It's all that more difficult. As Right State, they're just going to get themselves on the objective. Carthage very much in a position to recontest, as you can tell. Chicken Fries definitely thinking about it. Will throw himself onto the objective, has the burrow from Ferocious Pig to back him up for now. With how set up Aver's Puma is and the high charge on the beam, you just don't stand much of a chance unless you could get that off immediately. So Right State quick to turn this one around and get first cap.
Yeah, Symmetra working out great. Like you said, once you get that beam going, it's so difficult to shut down the Symmetra. And Carthage learned that lesson quite quickly. This Venture can be a great counter to Symmetra. Kind of burrow around some of those turret placements. Maybe some of that aggression starting to backfire.
Chicken Fries is kind of in right now. Okay, there we go. The rest of the team was like, where's the rest of Carthage? No, there they are. So it's all good. So they're going to go for this closer hold, which we see how impressive this can be. And it denies Ender an angle entirely. But it's just really, how can you get the team towards the castle, which the teleporter from Adver's Puma will be the best way to do that.
And this is kind of that position we were talking about that the Ana will sometimes sit in, hence why it was banned out. You just kind of run over high ground, and now the flip goes through. So now Carthage will just play on point and force Right State to play from the traditional defensive position. Not a rotation I have a feeling the Raiders were expecting.
It's a good call, though. You flip the map on them. You're making sure you don't get caught off guard. The only downside is having Ender on this high ground is quite scary. But you're also not the ones that need to with the payload. A huge stun, though. That was 3 players that Devil managed to hit with the bash before falling. Unfortunately, it is both supports that the Raiders will be losing out on. So it was a cool idea. In theory, just the call from Carthage was so much better to move around the back and just obliterate Devil.
Ooh, even self-destruct used here by Rev actually finds Jumpy.
Wait a minute.
Both supports are now out, and that'll force ZXC pop the override protocol, trying to salvage this fight, or at least delay it enough for reinforcements to arrive. But yeah, it'll be more the delay rather than ending this fight.
Yeah, I think that's best case scenario, honestly, if you're Right State there. Getting that extra override protocol out, have all of these resources, you'll be back faster. In fact, you are very, very happy about that trade-off. But Ferocious Pig, I think, holding down this side with a Tectonic Shock. It will be a D-Mech onto Rev. Even the sound barrier from Jumpy Wizard to help the rest of her team push on up. And this is a devastating close hold to break through, and it resets that initial advantage that Right State has of those later picks.
And I wonder if some swaps are going to come in here. Evers Puma, well, actually we'll stick on to the Symmetra. I thought with that photon barrier going out last fight, maybe some sort of swap was going on, but not quite yet here for the Raiders. Wanting to hold down with some of these TP plays, and now at least with a Kitsune rush to help usher into the fight, but theirs is not getting into the fight, it's just getting through this choke while actually getting some cart progress, because every single time, here we go, Carthage just flipped the map, and they're in the same position to where, yes, you have high ground, but you really can't do anything with it so far.
No, I really the only benefit is you have a safe spot for Hollister and ZXC can farm away that. And the Kitsune Rush from Lynx doesn't do all that much good for the team. Because you can just sit here for free and contest the payload. Self-destruct will be used by Chicken Fries to get back in the mech, which she will have no problem doing. And Jumpy Wizard again. She is all over these dives, eliminates Avers Puma. And threat for Right State on this high ground, that's so much smaller. They're the ones that need to make the move, not Carthage. They are happy to just chill away on this point. Ender uses Override Protocol as an escape tool to get back towards his own spawns.
It does get the D-Mech on Chicken Fries, which is quickly turned over to an elimination. So maybe finally an opening here for Right State to make some progress. The rest of Carthage, without their tank, will just kind of retreat back up to Castle. It's honestly, you hold that for what, 4 minutes practically?
Yeah.
For a close hold, you're okay with giving up a little bit of time, knowing that the reinforcements will be back here in just a moment, and Ferocious Pig is stalling it out.
Doing what Venture does best. You come back with the Override Protocol and Kitsune Rush. There's very little response you can have to that, as both DPS from Right State are sent back to the spawns as Carthage Firebirds. And they want to let this last longer. It is a rally pop in the small room, forces a response out of Jumpy Wizard, which if you're Carthage, I think you're okay with that. You keep everybody in mech. You just want to make sure ZXC can stay on his feet as he gets ever so low on the point, but the killing will come in. Chicken Fries swoops on down from height to finish off Devil as well. We are down to that final fight here. That shouldn't, there's a couple picks that definitely shouldn't have happened, but if you're Carthage, you're going to be okay for another day.
Yeah, if you're Carthage, even though ZXC's probably sitting there like, guys, like, what's happening there? The Rev should not be living as long as he did. Red State, 5 minutes in this time bank almost have already been gone. Only 70 meters in second phase to go for it here. Regardless, Raiders in a difficult spot to keep this map going, but they have some ults to maybe turn it around.
They have options, but no positioning, really, to work with, because it is overtime. You will have to fight on the point, and that is absolutely not where you want to be. Great drill dash from Ferocious Pig. Took several players low, but will eventually drop. Tectonic Shock is there, but the Photon Blare blocks almost the entirety of the damage. ZXC will fall. Self-destruct now from Rev. No cooldowns Ferocious Pig to use to get out of it. It appears Right State, and it started to look pretty grim here for the Raiders. They're going to make it work. Fantastic ult from Avers Puma.
There will be enough time here for Carthage to get another touch. They won't have any ultimates, though, to go into it. Ender will just play this back high ground position, hoping to build up that override protocol to put the finishing touch on second phase to keep this push going for the Raiders after it got stalled out. Ferocious Pig now on the main is to stall this out even more.
Yeah, pretty annoying for Rev, especially, to have to deal with. But Ender wants to eliminate any pain there. Early override protocol from him, and doesn't do much other than just make sure Firebirds don't push up immediately. Ferocious Pig, nice wall, though, at the back of Avers Puma. Chicken Fries sends it straight at him. Kitsune Rush is down at a Hollister, and that will do it here on map number 2 as Carthage will take that one away.
Yeah, dominant attack, capped off by a fantastic second phase hold for the Firebirds. Now 2 maps away from winning the D3 Central title here in NECC. But this game, definitely far from over. We've seen how well Right State can play. It just felt like the game plan they had going into this map, especially on defense, fell apart. And that maybe impacted some of the moves they wanted to do later on in that map, and it just didn't work out. But still plenty of pieces to work on here for Right State to get them back into this series.
It doesn't feel like they're too far off, to be honest. They seem to have a lot of very niche strategies up their sleeves, and it will catch Carthage off guard. We've seen that find a lot of success. I think at a certain point, though, once we start to return to some more normal compositions, that's where things seem to be a bit more of a struggle for this team. But, I mean, so far, they're keeping this relatively close, considering the sweeps that Carthage has had throughout the season. And again, dropping only 1 map is insane to think about for any team, especially at a Division 3 level.
Yeah, especially at this level. Only dropping 1 map through, the entire regular season and then 2 rounds of playoffs already is a ridiculous feat. There's a reason why Carthage are the #1 seed here for the Central Conference, and They're doing a great job so far on showing exactly that. But again, Great State are the only team to have made it to this point. All of Group B here in Central is gone. Let's see if Wright State have something up their sleeves next.
Yeah, and it'll be back to their map pick. Again, it is a best of 7 or first 4, if you like to think about it that way. So you do have another shot before it is considered a match point now for Carthage. And using these correctly, I think, is going to be the best thing that you can do. Because once you start to run out of these bans, when we get later in the series, they're going to have so much less impact. Same to go with those map picks as well. If you're winning maps, you don't get to pick where you go next. So I'm almost expecting to see like an escort or something here along those lines. It does not strike me as a Wright State is a super I want to brawl this out type of team. They seem to like these faster paced, like separate split kind of comps.
Yeah, unless they want to lean into the sim that we saw in Eichenwald, then maybe we go to like a New York City. But I don't know. It's definitely some question marks here from Wright State on where exactly they could be going next. Obviously, like you said, escort, push, flashpoint, all still on the table here for Wright State to choose from. Cannot pick control or hybrid quite yet. Maybe if we get to map 6 or 7 during this series, but it'll take quite a comeback for Wright State for us to get to that point. And we do have a role swap.
Okay.
Not even like a bench player coming in. Chicken Fries and Ferocious Pig have swaps. You know, Chicken Fries will go assumingly on the flex DPS or maybe a double hit scan look here for Carthage.
Yeah.
And then Ferocious Pig on tank.
Interesting. And we don't know the map pick yet, to my knowledge, either.
No,
so
I don't think so.
This is, I mean, they obviously know since they made that swap. I highly doubt you just say, we're going to do this because it's funny. No, they definitely have some sort of plan going into that. So I'm really curious about where
Like
we
a
are
circuit?
going.
Oh,
It is Watch
there we
Point Gibraltar. I'm actually really surprised. Chicken Fries being on this Diva / Wrecking Ball that we saw earlier, unless it's like a Winston specialist kind of moment, and there was
Maybe?
a Diva ban. That's the only thing I can think of, is Diva was banned on this map, but
Yeah.
Wright State were also playing Diva, so I'm not 100% sure if that was the case for these players.
Yeah, we'll find out here in a moment. Kind of an intriguing one here. We'll have to wait and see once we get into the map what the thought process is. Maybe it is like that double hit scan, and maybe in that secondary hit scan role, Chicken Fries just maybe a little bit more comfortable with that. We haven't seen a whole lot of that so far. It's just basically pin the Emre for Carthage. And granted, doing a fantastic job as ZXC, but kind of curious on what the move is. In Wright State, obviously, we're talking about what are they going to feel for here. They want to go, instead of kind of this half dive, half kind of this split push style, just commit to the full dive. It is going to be actually Lucio banned again, this time from Wright State. It's actually Carthage with the Diva ban. So maybe you were kind of going up the right tree of, could be a Winston, even a Hazard. Hazard's been kind of played a little bit more here and there over the last week or so. So maybe it's that kind of look as well. But the Diva that we saw so much of last map will not be played here.
Yeah, and then also with the Lucio ban. First of all, Jumpy Wizard has been having a fantastic series.
Oh,
on
ridiculous.
The Lucio.
Yeah.
She's been all over the kill feed. She's been exactly where she needs to be, and it's not dying. And as a support, that is rule number 1. Don't die as long as you can, at least. So it does tell me that we're either sticking on some sort of Curie Jetpack Cat, or maybe we do it on a brig. That is something that is, it's very classic for Watch Point Gibraltar, especially if a Winston is in the cards for either of these teams. I am interested to see what that will look like as we have the swaps. I don't believe Wright State made another change, so it will still be Rev on
Rev's still
tank,
in.
from what I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we at least haven't been told that that's been changed. So for now, we're assuming Rev is staying in. I don't think Rev played bad. I think just the whole game plan there for Wright State, you could tell they entered with something, and then once that Jetpack at Bastion setups didn't work, it was a little bit of a pause on what they were hoping to do. It'll be defense first for Carthage, and it is that Hazard that will be pulled out here from Ferocious Pig. And actually, Chicken Fries not on the secondary hit scan, but on the Tracer. So I wonder if this is more of like a Hazard play, if they wanted to ban the Diva. bring in Ferocious Pig onto the Hazard. Let's see how it works out here for the Firebirds.
I will say, out of all the role swaps we usually get, Tank usually isn't involved in that. It is very rare that we see somebody go from DPS to tank or vice versa. So I am excited to see what's cooking. DXC, though, going to stick with this Emre, which has been lighting it up for the Firebirds. Has Jumpy Wizard back on this Jetpack Cat, whereas Devil actually going to take up the Yardi instead.
The Illari actually seeing a little bit more here and there. We saw it today during World Cup Conference Cup in EMEA. So maybe taking a little bit of the playbook there, especially on this map, got played a lot. So let's see what Red State want to do. Is getting through this initial choke point can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, first this little effort of how far can we push the payload versus how can we all commit to a high ground dive? What is the push and pull there? Which Right State definitely investing more towards the cart for the time being, which I think makes a lot of sense. You've already gotten it basically through the tunnel now, as Ferocious Pig is just looking to jump onto the Devil way back in the back line, but he's so far away from the fight now that the rest of his team is kind of like, hey, we need a little bit of help contesting this payload, as the Hazard is on an island and he's going to get punished for it.
Yeah, tried jumping back up onto the high ground to dive onto Lynx, but just didn't work, and that'll force the rest of Carthage, as well, not Chicken Fries, to retreat. There is at least one trade that goes through on Everest Puma, making this a 3v4, but it's pretty much complete high ground control here on the backside of this point is controlled now by Right State.
So they have the sun position to work with. It's like that classic little map flip that we saw before. Kitsune Rush almost up for Lynx, which that'll be very helpful for Right State to get that last little bit over the finish line here. DXC, again, already off to this override protocol, building these at a record pace. They'll look to deny a lot of the push that, rather the ground that Right State were hoping to gain off the Kitsune Rush. Has to get a mid-air Suzu, though, from Hollister to help keep him alive. Only results in a 1-for-1. Now more of these also starting to come online. If it's Cake Carthage, you're happy about that. Second now, Chicken Fries as he sticks a pulse bomb to Reb's shoulder there. It'll be a retreat now for the Raiders. Oh, that's unfortunate. RIP my co-caster. That's okay. Well, I can inform you that one of all threes by Carthage only have the Catnapper to work with now for Jumpy Wizard. So Right State really have a massive opening to work with saving 4 of their shiny buttons. Welcome back, Jesse. What shiny button are we smelling out first?
I'm loving this Alari shiny button from Devil. As soon as the cleanse comes out from a Hollister reverse Puma, maybe just can draw it out with the pulse bomb. We're already kind of teasing it. You can tell the Firebirds are aware. But sent Chicken Fries to Mark, and reverse Puma will actually have to back up. Great Mark.
Yeah, and this Tracer duel has been great, but Reverse Puma said, I've had enough with that. Looks for the pulse bomb, chops it onto Ferocious Pig. He'll go kablooey, but it's still Carthage coming up in the kill feed, Jesse. They never got that Captive Sun off, and that was a 3-for-1 ultimate exchange, mind you.
Yeah, that is worst case scenario there for Right State. Ender will make a swap. They will just match the Emre from ZXC. The Ash, which used to kind of be queen on this map for a while. Emre stepped into a very similar role, just feels a little stronger at the moment. It will be another game of just keeping track of that cleanse from Hollister for this Captive Sun, but at some point, you may just have to pop it if you're Devil, even if that cleanse is still available, even though almost, there it is.
Okay, but again, only Catnap right now for the Firebirds. We've said that before, and clearly not too worried. This is what you want to see, though, if you're the Raiders. Epson out onto a couple of targets, although nobody actually going down. Hollister, though, fantastic Cactus out of Rev to set up that kill on Jumpy Wizard. And that will get the Raiders over the finish line, at least for 0.1, 2.5 minutes to go.
Doesn't matter how long it takes you to do it, you just got to make sure you get it done, and that's what Right State did there. And they have great high ground control already, just an absolute hawk of a nade over to the opposing high ground from Ender. Will take out ZXC and even just delay this even longer. Complete ship control for Right State after really struggling to take advantage of the high ground during first phase. Chicken Fries, though, already at least giving some sort of pressure by point.
Those light healings really paying off right there.
Yeah.
And Carthage, yeah, you got more tools to work with in this fight, and you're gonna have to spend a lot of them just to get in a good spot to take the battle. Hold on, Chicken Fries. He's thinking about it. He sees the RDB.
He wants it
Around the corner. He definitely wants it, but knows the commitment that will come with it. We'll have to wait for Hollister's Kitsune Rush instead. Jagged Walt slows down a lot of that approach. Pulse Bomb is there, goes a bit wide, but still comes up with links. Couldn't get away. Suzu already burned. Carthage will get everything set back up here on the second point defense.
Yeah, that was just a perfect catnapping, the little bit of the stun, even if you don't pick everybody up. Still, just enough downtime for that pulse bomb to go through. Chicken Fries now stuck between a rock and a hard place. Able to escape away to Mega, but now their position is known.
Yeah, and it's not ideal. I mean, he'll get back to the fight fine. Right side, though, if they can push fast on this, that'd be fantastic, so that they can get the Tracer out of the way. Forces recall, not a good one. Out of Chicken Fries, Evers narrowly wins out that Tracer 1v1. It's a set Hollister on the underside, though. That did come up with two, one of which being Rev, and as soon as you lose that tank, it's kind of just done here on this point. But right state, Jesse, they know when their win condition fight is.
Yeah, look at all those ults. Everything but the Captive Sun ready to go compared to zilch, nada from Carthage. But that has not been too big of a factor for the Firebirds in several of these fights being down on ults. Looking to have one more sneaky play here just to finish off this defense strong.
Goes for the down 4, won't connect onto anybody, and Ender will clear the high ground. I say clear it, everyone just bunkered in a small room and collapsed onto Chicken Fries. Oh, one down on the defense, but it is overtime, and several need to go forward. Fantastic set of bombs up from Ender as two blow ZXC into the Moro. Captive Sun laid on top of it, and right state, they love their old dumb fights. They'll make them work when they can, and will squeak their way into third point.
Yeah, just love capping it in overtime so far. Both first and second phases capped when that overtime ticker is going down. Ferocious Pig will go off of the hazard and onto the Sigma for the final phase of this map. Just trying to be a little bit more of the poke, and that was a very dangerous setup there. And Ever's Puma recall forced, and well, it doesn't matter. ZXC just goes crazy for 3.
He got 4, actually.
4?
He had everybody but the tank. Yeah, that's kind of wild how that was able to happen. And it's really just because the Jetpack Cat just drops him on high ground and he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, pretty much. ZXC, if I had to pick an MVP right now, probably him. Just been super consistent on this Embrain. The pulse, not even defense measure this time. It's the grasp for Ferocious Pig.
Every Puma just cannot get these pulse bombs off.
No.
It's like the second or third one we've seen eaten so far. Will be a catnap though on the Rev, dragged into the middle of the team, and he can't really go anywhere. So he will be dealt with. 18 seconds left on the clock, and what do you do if you're right state? You can't build up another ult dump. You only have 90 seconds going at this point. Carthage is essentially in your spawn. Chicken Fries is still hunting for a pulse bomb, although there aren't many targets left alive to deliver that final gift to see that the payload will stop here for the right state Raiders as Carthage will flip the sides.
Yeah, no OT magic the third time around for right state. Just 43 meters here in the final phase. So if Carthage is able to get through the first 2 phases of this map, it's going to be quite a difficult hold for the Raiders. Take a little bit of a scoreboard check here on 13 eliminations for Ferocious Pig. Even on the roll swap, Rev trying to keep the Raiders in this one, leads the way with 14. But this has really been just a game of Carthage having a clear game plan, knowing exactly how they want to play it. Right state trying to make those adaptations on the fly and, you know, really taking advantage of those ult dumps. But the outside of those ult dumps is that once you do it, you're kind of having to take 3-4 fights to get all those built back up, and you just don't have the time to do it.
There's so few and far between. It's not a very reliable win condition, even if it is incredibly effective. So I'll see how Wright State will manage to adjust on the defense. I was wondering what happened with Adverse Puma. I've been having a bit of a rough time on that Tracer, and is actually going to go over to the Genji. The first time we'll be seeing that hero in this series, and I think a lot of potential for this to be a more consistent follow-up to Rev, but if Chicken Fries goes back to the Tracer, I do fear how that will match up.
Yeah, I have a little bit of worry as ZXC. We'll just teleport it over high ground. Easy pivot over, and now that's complete control here up on this high ground unless Avarice Puma decides it is time to dive on in, but going to be tricky. Ferocious Pig will stay on the Sigma, so no dive for Carthage. They'll try to bunker down and allow Chicken Fries and ZXC to make the magic.
Yeah, the first time we get that set up for the Winstons. The ball actually picks off Jumpy Wizard on her jetpack cat, which is pretty nice, and Rev can even drop down to help contest the kills. I think if you are Wright State, you are in a good spot, and this is going to be a stagger on a Ferocious Pig. I'm assuming should not come up with any limb onto the Tracer. That got a lot closer than should have been, but no, yeah, it will be the dust settling here, and Wright State back to high ground.
Yeah, Red State just settling in now on the side ground. This will be where Devil, who had a little bit of a rough attack, to say the least. This is where the Alari can shine. There's so many places where you can put that healing pillar, and pylon, I should say, and you just let it be, but that's not something you normally have to equate for.
I don't know what Devil could have done differently there. I'm going to be totally honest. He gets the jetpack cat, which is impressive, with a giant 600 health tank flying at you. You take those, and yeah, it's a back off now. For Wright State, Ferocious Pig on the high ground, and the true effectiveness of jetpack cats to be shown in that specific play.
Yeah, that's not one you normally have to practice for. Just a Sigma running at you, and now Ferocious Pig will continue to push over to this high ground. One member of Wright State still on the outside, and actually Lynx lines up the kunai to eliminate Chicken Fries.
Yeah, Lynx has also been having a very solid map for the Raiders. They're kind of holding it down on the Kiriko, despite not having a ton of dive protection here. Ferocious Pig under some fire on the high ground, but still has the Gravitic Flux to work with, and I have a feeling that's where the Firebirds are headed next.
Yeah, line up those Gravitic Flux, maybe even pair it up with the Pulse from Chicken Fries when he's able to get that here in just a moment.
Where? I heard the Flux. I just don't know where Wright State is for them to be fluxed. Yeah, it was a whiff. I don't know if there's anyone in the same zip code there. So a bit unfortunate, but a nice pulse bomb again from Chicken Fries. Which means that his kill will at least have a response to it. And Jumpy Wizard comes back to help with the dive from Avarice Puma on the back end. The Carthage Firebirds, great use of their resources overall to not over-invest. And I think it was just a couple of set plays that caught their team off guard. The Devils still committing to this though. Captain Sun blows up the cat. And Ender is going to commit to this override protocol, hunting for Chicken Fries around the corner. Sensor zone of Ferocious Pig. There's way too much shield health for that to have any effect, except make sure the Raiders can get in position for a final defensive stance.
Yeah, it gives them time. And I think that's all Ender really needed to happen there. Give Wright State time to set back up. 50 seconds remaining here. And Blade is about to be online. But you can't die early from this override.
You just gotta duck and cover. Don't try to fight it, just duck and cover. Ender ignored that and took a lot of damage for it. And eventually died. So that's the problem with Override Protocol. ZXC was disrespected. Wright State found out the hard way, and they will find themselves on the second point with some help from Chicken Fries.
Yeah, Blade not even able to be popped by Avarice Puma. He's not even remotely close to the amount of time necessary. Ship control contested at least here from Wright State. ZXC just trying to keep everybody from the Raiders tucked into that top left door, but eventually someone's got to break through. And well, nice little shots there from Ender.
It's a good exchange, but we're kind of in a similar situation. Remember on Wright State's attack, where all the ship control was over to the attackers, in this case Carthage, and they're going to look to string that advantage further forward. Gravitic Flux is out. So many ults being popped with the Dragon Blade. I think initially got stunned by the cat, but was either dropped or cut off at the end of the day. For Carthage, though, I don't think you care about the technicalities. You have a massive advantage when it comes to these elims, as they are going to snowball their way through the second point. You blink and you miss it.
Yeah, and this just continues to get more treacherous for Wright State is because of them only getting 43 meters, you're not holding out this normal corner.
On Ron.
Anran, hey, sometimes you just gotta throw something in, see if it sticks. Anran and Ana swaps come in from Devil and versus Puma, but will it be enough? Kitsune Rush will at least get the Raiders over back to this point, and they may not even need it.
Okay.
Ferocious Pig sticks around maybe a little too long.
Perhaps too overconfident. I will say that is a terrible spot to have to defend the payload from. So pushing up seemed like the right idea at the time. Yeah, Carthage will have to take another swing at things. We're just getting silly out here.
Oh, yeah. First, be like, oh, you're just gonna hold on the Winston? Okay. Let's have some fun. Reinhardt, baby. We are back in the late 2010s.
I mean, this honestly makes sense. If you're playing as close to the corner as you can, why not just smack Revan to the ground with a hammer? A couple of times. Nice pulse from Chicken Fries. Rev's still on his feet, though. With how much help I came from Lynx Suzu. And Ender will win the war of attrition from the sky as the pure chaos starts to settle. Right State seem to have stabilized as Ferocious Pig still gonna stick on this Reinhardt.
Why not? You just try and build up Shatter, and as long as you lay it on 1 or 2 over by a point, then it's pretty much going to be game over. Catnapping is here for Jumpy Wizard. She may just try and use it onto a Squishy to bring back to the rest of the team.
I don't know if that grabbed
think it hit.
anybody. I'm gonna be honest,
No,
I think that was a
I
bit
don't
of a
think
whip.
so.
That's kind of unfortunate for Jumpy Wizard there, but it does get Primal out of Rev, and Average Puma dies just before the revival can be into play. Nano Boost, kind of the last hope for Right State on this defense. They just don't have options.
They
The
see
override
the
protocol
eyes.
in the sky. Gotta touch the payload. That's not the way you wanted it to end for Right State, but if you are Carthage, you go ahead and take those match point now for their Division 3 Central title.
Oh, we really got a C9 already. Oh, man.
It's one of those days.
It is just one of those days. Like, we are near a brand new season, at least for in-game. But end of the season here in Collegiate, and yeah, that's a little rough there for Wright State. I will say, it was a very tough position for them to win that back, but the Nano was on the Winston. Maybe Primal gets built, then you can delay it, hope you find a pick somewhere during that fight. Yeah, not exactly how the Raiders wanted that to end. Now a full reverse sweep needed in a best-of-7 format, not even just a best-of-5, needed here from the Raiders to bring this one back and avoid a runner-up finish. But man, what a performance so far by the Firebirds. They have not stopped basically at all. Other than that one kind of blemish of a round on Ilios to start the series, Firebirds have looked incredible.
Yeah, they're continuing to light it up here in their Division 3 Central final. And for a team that has only dropped a map on the season, Jesse, they're looking to keep it at just 1. All they need is a 4th to go in their favor, and it could very well be the next. We're going to go ahead, send it to a quick break, let our teams get ready, let the last pick for Wright State come on in, and see where the series takes us. So stay tuned.
Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard.
crossing over like I am. Well, I know you know that like it's cold.
Carthage College one map away from completing their near perfect run in the Division 3 Central Conference. And they could very well end it here. One more map pick is up in order for Wright State. And it's going to be a tough one, I think, to stop the momentum that we have seen Carthage College build up, Jesse.
Yeah, ever since there's just that one blemish on Ilios Ruins. Other than that, it has been the Firebirds burning bright this entire series so far. And now just one map away from finishing their semester and the school year as a whole on a high note. Let's see here what Wright State would like to do. Send us. We only have push flashpoint left, so can't really stick to those escort-related map types that we've had the last two. Got to switch it up to something more fast-paced, which I will say is a little bit worrying, because that's kind of been the exact sweet spot for Carthage a lot of the time tonight. But let's see what Wright State would like to do.
Well, we're going to talk about some of those things that have really been going well for each of our teams, or at least for Carthage College, to start us off with some of our uncommon traits, sponsored by the Forge Trials and the Army National Guard. First and foremost, pouncing prowess, and I think we thought this one was funny. Just it mostly applies to Jumpy Wizard, whether she is on the Jetpack Cat or the Lucio. She's in there, she's getting active, and most importantly, she's staying alive. She's supporting her team the best that she can, but being a kind of one-woman show in a lot of ways, backing up this team in a more silent way that absolutely cannot be understated.
Yeah, no, it has been ridiculous so far, kind of how they've been just going about this whole thing, and even like ZXC, we just put existing, right? Like just because that's just how good he's been during this entire series so far. And even that flexibility, we were trying to figure out what this third one would be after map 2, but then we said, oh, we got a DPS tank role swap and it still works out perfectly. Like, that shouldn't necessarily happen, but it's worked out great here for Carthage.
Yeah, they found a way to make this team comp work with all of the players. It's still relatively small roster and a lot of flexibility in between. But on the other side of this, for Wright State, they've managed to keep themselves in the game because it is a best of 7, but it is still an incredibly close series. And when we talk about their uncommon traits specifically, it's a little bit more on the side of, you know, what can they do to further support the things that are going well. And in that case, Uplifting Ender, I think, has had a great showing on the M-Ray if he has the space to work with. And usually it has happened in like a lot of these more defensive settings. We'll see him get set up. It's awesome. But then on the other side of that, what hasn't been working so well, is it time to say goodbye to the Jetpack Cat? That has been kind of a signature of this team. I think it's been several maps now where it has not worked out in their favor. More experimentation may be necessary to find that second win. You are on the verge of getting fully swept in our best of 7 Division 3 Central Finals. And Wright State, one more important decision for them to make, Jesse.
Yeah, the final time here in this series, and you know, the way they will get to pick the map, and let's see, we go to Coliseo for the next one. I would hope an Emre ban is following this. I will not lie to you, Molly. I do worry here a little bit. This is like Emre's playground on Coliseo. It is super long range, and it is not. Mizuki?
Okay. That was first ban, too.
That's
right?
first ban.
That's first ban.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Huh. That's what
Wrecking Ball? Maybe?
Maybe, but the Wrecking Ball didn't even work. that was the round that they lost.
I was
So I
Chicken
don't-
Fries that played Wrecking Ball. What?
Which they have swapped back, by the way. Chicken Fries is now back on tank. Ferocious Pig back on flex DPS after swapping on Watch Point. And Rep is also back
Okay.
in now for Right State. So I have 2 maps for Rev. Neither of them worked out great. Rep, she will return here for Right State. But, this is an interesting one here, Molly. Not
Yeah.
exactly the bands I thought we were going to see.
Well, she is hovering the Wrecking Ball right now, so that does make sense a little for Rep to pull this one out and have the Mizuki ban, but and we're still running this cat. I guess the M-Ray's open. Neither team is currently playing the M-Ray, and we're still on this on-run. There's a lot of things for Right State here, very niche, but it seems to be their identity, Jesse, and they're going to stick with it, even if this could be the last part.
Yeah, it is sticking to their guns, and already the dive just sent that in on a poor ZXC, who actually isn't on the Ember, he's on the Soldier. And the legs actually being a giant benefit so far. Just able to run away from the dive, and in the meantime, Ferocious Pig is able to find one.
I am honestly impressed ZXC got out alive
Yeah.
with both Devil and Rep basically on top of him there. Yeah, I mean, for Carthage, you take that. I think it was a bubble on a Ferocious Pig, too, that allowed him to teleport onto Lynx on the back line. So the payload is moving in the direction of Carthage. ZXC eventually does fall with some straight shots from Ender, and the pile drive sets this up as Devil's almost playing as a follow-up to these pile drives. You're not really going to see that from an on-run much.
No, it's going to be kind of tough to get a lot of these follow-throughs, but it ends up just being Devil who is able to finish up on Jumpy Wizard. Ferocious Pig left all alone, even though the spot starting to move over here, 38 meters for Chicken Fries, who really hasn't had to do a whole lot during this map so far. Eventually, it will flip back over, and the Raiders can start making some bot progress of their own, but already is giving up 38 meters for a fight that was kind of just all over the place. And that's the one worry I do have with this comp. You have no staying power on the bot. Chicken Fries are just going to basically sit down on point and sit there, right? They're not going to move around too much. They just want to make this as difficult as possible for Right State to get any substantial bot progress.
Yeah, and on a map, like, which push in general, that's kind of the thing. Playing the objective, I think, is so much more valuable than any other map type that you're going to see. So, especially this first part, it's going to be difficult for extra progress to gain from Right State. Minefield came out from Rep, and everyone from Carthage just kind of backed off, looked at it, and said, hey, that's cool. I will let that go away, and actually ended up getting the final blow onto the hamster of Right State there. Death Blossom now from Ferocious on the other side, having a lot of fun with the recent Reaper change as well. And yeah, Carthage will start to break out of this Coliseum.
Yeah, and this may start to snowball here, but maybe not. Ender, one of those uncommon traits that we were talking about is getting Ender in a better position. And it
Okay.
seems like they were able to do it that fight. This went an extra 10 meters or so, but nothing more here from Carthage. And those uncommon traits were brought to you by the Army National Guard. Find your calling at nationalguard.com. But let's see here if Right State can get 2 fights together. Got some. Well, that was a failed kidnapping, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
At least Devil
definitely.
lives. So is it fully a failure?
No.
I mean, okay, still technically they didn't actually grab anybody, but you're alive, and for Right State, you take those, especially where this payload is about to approach. But Jumpy Wizard, she's actually gonna find Avril's Puma on this on-run, gonna opt to hold on to the revival too. Kind of sensing that Right State will be backing off of this in general, as Carthage has managed to reverse this robot progress essentially to the midpoint already.
Yeah, not bad. 34 meters here for Right State, but still not great. You need to get some more progress going here. Carthage now had the Kitsune Rush to lay onto this point. And Ender, even though they're on high ground, could be the target of one of these, but instead it'll be Lynx that opens it, and a full retreat immediately here from the Firebirds.
And Ferocious Pig teleporting right into that. I was like, well, that's unfortunate. Not much he could have done, but Graviton Surge plus Sound Barrier here to turn this around. As Right State are like, all right, we win this, we go. Chicken Fries forces them to slam the brakes on there. The Firebirds will keep moving in.
Yeah, Firebirds charge on, and they will probably get forward spawns. Even guys, No, nobody on the bot. Maybe they would have gotten it, but now I'm not quite sure. There should be a contest now from a rep to go on through. She's just being an absolute nuisance in the pack.
Vermilion is silent from Avers Puma. It's 2 players in a small room, which is really gutsy to fight both a Zarya and a Reaper. But if Ferocious Pig is going to isolate himself, I think you chase that down any day of the week and just won't be able to escape from that situation. Although I think you take that. Having the Zarya chase Non-Ron around for the last 15 seconds is fantastic for the Raiders. They won the rest of the fight more towards the robot, even with some awkward positioning happening.
Yeah, Chicken Fries kind of just stuck back here, but in the meantime, still some trades going back and forth. Fries is able to get another one before they are eventually taken out, but that is still a decent trade. Advantage still, though, for the Raiders.
Complete and utter chaos is what we are witnessing right now, and the Raiders eventually seem to have put a cap on that for now, but Ferocious Pig is buying so much time.
What?
Well, I'm not sure about that one. No, hopefully that's a swap, because otherwise I'm like super duper concerned about that.
That's a little creative. Just a little.
Well, we're kind of hat-napping somebody. I'm assuming it was an attempt to catnap on a Chicken Fries, since Devil is now dead to the main. I think you take the trade onto that, though. We, again, talked about how setting up Ender is going to do this right state team so much good. It has been the fights they have won, have been the ones where Ender has gotten a couple in the kill feed, and this is great positioning for him, too.
Yeah, now some swaps actually coming out from Carthage. The Echo and Diva. So this will make, well, Ender's life a little more difficult. Not as easy for a Soj to hit that kind of Echo in the air.
No, I mean, aimbot definitely helps with that, but yeah, DXC and just going down with Sune Rush, being littered with some minefield. Chicken Fries knocked out of the mech, though, real fast. It's just so gutsy to try to play into that Link's Kitsune Rush. And it'll be the lead and forward spawns forfeited now by Carthage Firebirds. This is the best spot we've seen Right State in all series.
Yeah, and Ferocious Pig just stuck kind of in no man's land and will eventually be punished for it by Devil and company, even though this bot starts moving back. But like you said, forward spawns are already active here for Right State, and they will just continue to stagger this out. And somebody is pushing Cart. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's Rep. Probably.
Yeah, I think it's Rep. Carthage tried to flip the map and just dive on the squishies, but not only are they losing that battle, but you're also just not contesting Robot at the same time. So much extra meterage now, gained by Right State in a battle that honestly looks like they're somewhat stabilizing. Ivers Puma will be back with the Vermilion Ascent. He grabs an extra on a Ferocious Pig. Carthage Firebirds, this is so sloppy compared to what we've been seeing.
Yeah, maybe this chaos from the Wrecking Ball comp finally starting to work here for Right State, and that Mizuki ban starting to actually pay off here, Molly. We weren't quite sure how it was going to work at first, but letting Rep just kind of run around, do anything she really wants during this map, has started to pay dividends. A 40-meter lead here for the Raiders with 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, goodbye,
deleted.
Ferocious
Wow.
Pig. There's nothing that could have been done differently there by the Venture. The Vermilion Ascent on in. I think maybe it's up one player. An extra shield up to go through. This is the most effective on-run play I think I've seen since her release. So kudos to Avers Puma for that. Fortunately, he is dead. And the robot will finally go the way of the Carthage Firebirds.
But now, 2 minutes to go. Need to win at least, I would say, 3 fights to get this lead maybe contested from Right State. And Avers Puma will actually swap now onto the Vendetta. A little bit more of a hard counter to the Diva rather than the Zarya earlier, and ZXC already gone.
Yeah, and I know he wanted to do that just a tad bit earlier, but the sound barrier from Jumpy Wizard couldn't quite keep him on his feet, so it does get through the rest of that overclock from Ender. And Right State, I think they're okay with where the robot is. Forward spawns have not been canceled to my knowledge. I cannot tell. I don't think they
did.
were,
I think
did they get canceled? Okay, never mind. Then in that case, it's great if you can clean up Ender, but you haven't been able to do that yet. ZXC hope to change that, just chunks a couple of players instead of getting any final blows. In fact, it's only Jumpy Wizard that we see appearing on the right side of the kill feed, as Carthage College are just struggling to make this work. It is so back and forth as expected with these comps, but they don't have the bot.
Yeah, Bot is sat here in the Coliseum over the last minute. That is music to Wright State's ears. They just want to make these fights as long as possible and try and draw them out, take that time down, force maybe an extra fight win from Carthage to make sure this series gets done. But right now, it's looking like Wright State will at least force us to Flashpoint in map 5, as it'll take a lot right now still to build up this lead, but they do have some ultimates now ticking up. Only the catnapping right now for Devil.
Forward spawns will be unlocked here as the Ferocious Pig gives Lynx a jump scare, but not a lethal one. Well, retreats back to the rest of his team, as it's only Chicken Fries on the point right now. Will have to self-destruct, so you're kind of okay with that, but I guess you said, Jesse, uphill battle now for Carthage if they want to keep this at a sweep. Minefield there for Rep. Just really just denies the space. Ferocious Pig easily can clear and even gets under Spuma on the back of it. There's the sound barrier now for Carthage. They want to push this advantage. Ender soaring off the map mid-overclock. It's all going down the drain for Wright State. Their win conditions, Jesse, gone.
Just this catnapping from Devil, who is just chilling on the outside, but he really doesn't have a great look at this, even though he knows at least where the Venture is, but somebody still has to touch and 3 ultimates to work with.
Oh. Deadeye from ZXC almost catches the cat, but he'll be fine. There's a bite taken out of Rep's health bar. No, there goes Devil to the melee of a Venture. Right State, they had it in the bag, but it's slipping through their fingers. Carthage Firebirds, they will continue to burn bright. In fact, the brightest, as they are going to claim their Division 3 Central Overwatch title.
They are the leaders of the Central here in Division 3, and what a nice little comeback here on Coliseo to mark it all off. I thought this was done here for Wright State. They had everything in their control and just didn't happen. Ferocious Pig, this Venture swap worked out fantastic near the latter end of this series, and Carthage burned bright here in this grand final. They sweep Wright State, and now 1 map dropped across the entire season here for Carthage. That is one hell of a way to end it.
I don't know how much closer you get perfection other than not losing that 1 map, but that is a ridiculous standard to be set, especially with Division 3 being as up there as it is in terms of the level of competition that we have here in NECC. An absolute achievement that they should be proud of as Carthage College, and I almost feel like they've been a bit of a sleeper within a lot of people's eyes for collegiate in this past season. I'm very curious to see how this team will continue to grow and evolve as we see that kind of trickle on down. But for now, 1 map dropped, another sweep to end the season off for the finals. The Firebirds certainly happy with that result for Wright State. They made it interesting. It was a very entertaining series. I will give it that, but at the end of the day, it will be the Carthage Firebirds remaining in that throne.
Yeah, they sit atop, and Wright State maybe kicking themselves a little bit of what could have been if they'd steal away at Coliseo, but still a phenomenal season to be proud of for sure if you are the Raiders. But after this, we're going all the way up to Division 1. It is Arcadia, who has been one of the stories of collegiate in general this semester. It really has felt like going up against arguably the #1 team in the country of Northwood. We got a fantastic Division 1 final for you guys coming up here in just a little bit. Stay with us.
Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard.
Shorter when I'm older than I am. And I know you know that I have lost composure, but I'll hold you closer while I can. I never told you that I'm slightly broken, that I might lose focus when I am. I know you know that life gets colder when you're frozen over like I am. Again, why does it feel so hard to breathe? Why does it feel so hard to breathe? So hard to breathe. Never found, but these voices bring me to my knees. Again, why do you waste your light on me?
You'll still have common days.
I gotta turn this off now.
Put off your term papers till the last minute. Eat cold pizza right out of the fridge. Update your fantasy roster. This is not one of those days. A few weeks a year and you'll discover the most uncommon time of your life.
It's the best of the best to ever do it for Collegiate Overwatch here in NECC as we are looking to give away that title of the Division 1 champion. And this is one that is highly up for contention. One team that is rivaling the edge of not only the best in Collegiate, but the best in North America, and one that has been the upset story of the season.
Yeah, we got Arcadia versus Northwood. If you hear the name Northwood, it's probably for good reason, right? Like, everybody knows Northwood has storied history, not even just in Overwatch, but in collegiate esports in general. You look at this roster: Rocket, Chronic, CJ Lep, Painkiller. 4 out of the 5 of those are on current OWCS partner teams. That's just a little bit crazy here for Northwood. And PK is not somebody to kind of joke about either. But Arcadia really have been one of the best stories of this semester so far. They barely squeaked into this playoff as the number 4 seed in their group, and all of a sudden they're here in the grand final.
Yeah, and from the upper bracket, mind
Yeah.
you. And they beat Fisher Navy round 1, beat Bright and Stratton, granted with some off-rolling, for the second round there. Ended up against Northwood in those uppers. It was a forfeit win for them, so that match never technically happened. But they found it here in the grand, or guaranteed a top 2, regardless of that fact. And I feel like, Jesse, as amazing as it has been for Arcadia this season, they've been in the group of death. I fear that all roads have to come to an end when you meet a roster that is the quality of Northwood's.
Yeah, when these two teams played against each other, they were actually both in Group B. It was very first week of the season. This was 2 months ago on February 13th. And Arcadia won 2-3, but that's because it was Northwood's entire, backup sub-roster. Because at that point, I believe it was boot camp for a lot of these players overseas. So I think they had Painkiller on support, and they had backup tank, like Icy was playing, and it was a very weird, not the normal Northwood roster by any stretch of the imagination. So Northwood entered this obviously as the clear favorite. They've only dropped, the only 2 times they've lost was the forfeit loss to Arcadia in upper finals, and that B team roster lost to Arcadia. Technically, Arcadia is the only team to have beaten Northwood this year. Not even Winthrop, not even Fisher or St. Clair. Let's see if Arcadia, when everybody's at full strength, if they can somehow pull this out.
What a thing to say. I mean, for
It is
Arcadia to be
a
the
wild
only
thing
team
to say.
to be there. And hey, good for them. I am really hoping that we have a good contested game on our hands, which I think that might be pushing it. But hey, we're not going to say anything until we get out there. It is Oasis. It is Arcadia's pick, as they are, again, the 8th seed, technically, out of the playoffs, which, again, another crazy thing to be the 8th seed, making it all the way this far to the grand finals. They pick Oasis, and we don't have any of our bands coming in quite yet. Oh, never mind. There they are. Diva and Fora going away. Diva, I think that is a must ban at some point. It is the best tank of the game. It's one of Painkiller's best. And then Fora, as you were talking on a little bit earlier, kind of that sneaky winner from this last patch.
Yeah, I know Farah and Echo have really slid into the spot where Vendetta was for the longest time. And like you said, Diva, let alone one of the best heroes in the game right now, one of Painkiller's best heroes. So not a shock there from Arcadia trying to ban that out. But yeah, quite a tall order here for Arcadia to upset who's the number 1 team ranked nationally right now, heading into kind of the main Overwatch collegiate land next weekend. But they have quite an order ahead of him. But Northwood, again, if they get caught slipping, Northwood and Arcadia has been a team, not even against Arcadia and Northwood, but other, top 10 teams. They have been known to push and to even pull some upsets. So this is not a team that you can kind of just push away, especially when we're in a brand new season patch that could change everything.
Yeah, and I think that if you are Northwood too, there is an element of they could be coming into this a little overconfident, to be honest. I think this is a roster that has identified, you know, we're kind of just, we're on our high horse, the best around. Not many are going to dispute that, but if they aren't playing on that A game, as you said, I think there will be some room for changes. We're going to start out on City Center. Typically more of a dive point, which seems the realm of Northwood, but Arcadia, we're going for Racer Mauga to start.
I was curious when we would see the Samoan return. He kind of got shunned away in the meta. Some pretty harsh nerfs went through. But recently, ever since this new season patch, or even right before in EMEA, has been getting some play time, and it looks like Arcadia may be pulling something out of that playbook.
Yeah, and for now, it's working out. Painkiller just bounces on the trampoline for way too long. Overstayed his welcome there, and yeah, this is what we're talking about. If you do not respect the Arcadia setup, they will burn you down, quite literally, with Racer's Mauga.
Yeah, even with the Vendetta, again, nerfs came in, but still quite a difficult DPS to kill sometimes. And Painkiller, maybe thinking the fight was still winnable at that point, goes over to the Wrecking Ball. It can be played here on this round of Oasis, but it's going to be tricky. Everybody from Arcadia are going to play pretty close together.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball thrives best when you can divide and conquer, and other than Aruda here, I don't know if you're going to get the opportunity to do that. As we already see Pip engage on CJ on the opposite side of the map. It actually gets him and Chronic together, as Racer is just forcing the issue in the front line. If Painkiller's not there, okay, well, he's there to stop him that time, but too little, too late.
Yeah, already fight won by Arcadia, and the Scarlet Knights continue to hold on as Pulse Bomb already here from both Tracers. Rocket, one of the best Tracers in North America, maybe even the world right now. Let's see if he can start bringing this one back.
Yeah, haven't seen too much interaction from Rocket today. And of course has the Pulse Bomb to work with. He's had a few run-ins with Pip though, and I think that's made it rather difficult for him to be that true combined force with Painkiller that we are as used to seeing. But Chronic up to the high ground is definitely something to keep in mind if you are Arcadia. Make sure somebody is up there to dislodge him eventually. As Recall forced out of Rocket, close to final fight territory. Painkiller drops the minefield. It doesn't do much other than say, you can sit on this half of the point. That, on the other hand, is what Northwood are looking for. Kunai to the head of Aruda. And Arcadia, down both DPS now, will have a hard time pulling this one back in. So they're going to see how much time they can get back over. Although it will be one fight territory regardless. So they're going to be pretty happy with this outcome. What?
Ooh, cage fight, and Saving Joe is able to win the 1v1. Wait, hold on a minute. Painkiller down. Northwood have to play this a little bit safe.
I mean, they didn't get the point, and the one thing this composition is good at is stalling the objective. Chronic's like, all right, I'm done with this. We're not messing around. That's Chronic for you. If you haven't met him before, this guy will hit the shots if you are anywhere on his screen, and he'll put an end to that.
Yeah, just when Arcadia think maybe they're bringing this one back, Chronic puts down the hammer, and now Northwood can stabilize here on this point. And full support ults, and here's one. Well, never mind. Sunbury kind of forces CJ to retreat.
Yeah, it actually works out with the timing for the most part. It will result in a trade just with how quickly we saw everybody on Arcadia engage towards the back, but these support health bars are suffering for Northwood. CJ barely hanging on to life. Granted, his services not really needed with the specific comp that we are watching. It's Arcadia instead. We're bunkered down on this objective to see if they can get some health back, but that's where Painkiller can come in with this Wrecking Ball alongside Rocket. Pick these players off, force them to separate. Nealons will come in for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, Racer not even able to escape as the T-Wolves will be able to hold on here, and I'm maybe one fight away from bringing this all the way back from 95 to 0. It's Chronic. What an angle this is, and what a payoff.
What do you do against Chronic on this level of a match? Serious focus was put towards him at the start of the game, but now that he's had a little more free time to breathe, Jesse, it's becoming an issue. He gets him again.
God.
He just respawns. Let him play the game.
They're kind of no. That pulse bomb you guys keep hyping up, not even going to be a factor. The Aruda just basically been absent from this fight. Rockets, though, does whiff.
But you do get CJ. I think that is a great constellation for Arcadia. You can work in the Kitsune rush of saving Joe in the back. And Aruda's finally allowed to play the game, and look what happens. 2 great eliminations going over to the Scarlet Knights. Minefield down from Painkillers, an attempt to stall time, but Northwood don't have the point. Great cage fight from Racer, denying the massive stall potential that Painkiller could have had. As Arcadia so close to taking away this specific round. In fact, Jesse, they're going to do it. We questioned if this could even be considered a contest at the start of this game. They just won the first round.
Well, we did see how the last series went. I'll say that.
We did.
You know, the last series we had in the D3 Central Final was kind of all over the place as well. Let's see how Northwood want to respond. But so far, what a start here for Arcadia on Oasis. And a reminder that the Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard. Answer the call of the uncommon at nationalguard.com. And let's see here if Northwood can answer the call and bring us to a third round on Oasis and Arcadia. This is honestly, these second and third rounds are even better for the Maga. It's way more compact. Granted, the Wrecking Ball here on Gardens is still pretty decent. It's if we go to University in that third round, then I would start to worry a little bit, but already full high ground wrap for Arcadia.
Yeah, Arcadia, they want to get there. You're just not fast enough to take that spot, especially with Lep swapping over to his Lucio now. Arcadia, just gonna back off a little. Rocket, though!
You can't get over that Rocket.
Yeah, you could attempt, but no, unfortunately cannot go over that little archway, so he will fall, and Painkiller's gonna go down too. It's looking like the Scarlet Knights find themselves another first cap as Aruda looks to help stagger out these high ground players.
Yeah, the Maga has really been working here. And I don't know if it's stubbornness from Northwood. Like, hey, guys, we really don't want to play the Maga. And I could see that being the case, especially with this roster in particular. But it is just a very weird start. But if you're Arcadia, you have to take every single inch that Northwood give you and try and stretch it to a mile. The Widow trying to catch somebody off. Ooh, just isn't playing the right angle yet.
Yeah, but neither was Painkiller. I think going in a small room with 4 members of Arcadia is a rather gutsy choice, even if there isn't any hard CC to lock you down other than that stomp. So, and Chronic's still on the Widowmaker from what we can tell, and Arcadia, they are not risking it.
No, trying to play some really safe angles. Now, Pip wanting some of that action.
Yeah, I mean, goodbye, Chronic. I don't think he even saw Pip on his screen through the entirety of that. Racer somehow goes up on the Malgo charge. That was some cool tech. Unfortunately, not as cool as him staying alive. So it seems even if Chronic is more the bait now for this Northwood roster, Arcadia will, or at least on the losing end of this fight, commit the Kitsune Rush, I guess, is a bid to stall time, which Saving Joe is doing a shockingly good job at that, all things considered. They will end up giving it up around 7.
Oh, maybe not yet. Racer is back. It will eventually flip just due to the boop off from Painkiller. And now that, Aruda and Racer are gone, it'll be a full reset now for Arcadia. But again, another great first cap on one of these control points. This time 72%. Chronic giving, I think it was the Rapiture, a little bit of a haircut, but not quite landing the shot. But some of these ults now are going to be pretty big here for Arcadia. Pulse, they have Sundering Strikes, Sound Barrier soon to come.
Yeah, and there's a lot of options for this team, but not many options are available. If Chronic just clicks your heads before the fight begins, there are very few people that I would say, all right, you can play Widowmaker on Gardens on Oasis other than this guy. I mean, that is an almost neutral fight with the exception of CJ chucking in the Captive Sun at the end there. Yeah, Northwood, they're feeling happy with that.
Just the Captive Sun used by CJ. Now they build up the rest. So 4v4 in terms of ults. It may just be who uses that sound barrier later in the fight. And Chronic wanting something out of this, but it'll be the Kiriko TP. But Infrared Sight will show where this rotation's going to help Painkiller with this minefield.
Well, it would be a nice spot in the small room, but at the same time, you don't really want to commit. A Painkiller has gotten blown up way too many times from being in those small spaces. And instead, it just almost gets booped off there. Barely got the grapple online. It'll be a couple chunking shots out of Chronic, but a fantastic pulse bump out of Aruda. That grabs 2. Pips on top of it, slices Lep in half. This is going great for Arcadia, despite how that started off. Duplicate from Rocket is an attempt to help stabilize, but that is incredibly short-lived. Arcadia will get control of this point eventually, depending how long it takes to deal with Painkiller.
Yeah, Painkiller rolling around, can't quite get over to Mega. It'll be 94%, but the flip now for Arcadia. Still a cage fight, and that Kitsune Rush almost built back up for saving Joe. Raptor, that is not a fight you want, Chief. I'm gonna be so real with you. That's not what you want.
I got him anyways. Again, just great shots from Chronic. The passive lit Pip up there, so couldn't hide from there, but the last attempt here from Arcadia to keep this one going, or see if they can end this into rounds. But look how low this Mauga is. Racer will get burned down with the likes of Rocket and CJ combined. How much more can it do? Maybe a heroic pulse bomb from Aruda. Already got CJ, so there's an opportunity for it, and Pip is still alive and kicking. What will go over to Northwood? Racer can return momentarily, and Aruda's touch is guaranteed. Pulse bomb, though, goes wide, and that was the last ultimate you had in the back pocket. If you are Arcadia, and I fear this might be forcing the round 3 that Northwood have been wanting all along here. Racer stuck with every single sticky bomb, sent back to the spawn, first class shipping. And I'll go ahead and do it here for the Timberwolves as we see the last members of the Scarlet Knights trickle on in to little avail.
Yeah, it'll be 199 for Northwood, but Arcadia is staying in this, which was, to be completely transparent, not something I thought I was going to say during this series.
Yeah.
During a lot of it, just because, again, Arcadia is a phenomenal team, but this is, you know, the #1 team in the country is yet to lose with their full roster this year. And Arcadia are pushing them to the brink. And the downside for Northwood is that we're going to University to finish off this map. Way more enclosed than the first two. And CJ's like, wait, guys, this first to 4? It's like, yeah. Come on, guys. We told you this.
I think CJ's starting to realize, like, wait a minute, this is actually a little closer.
Guys, we gotta lock in. We gotta lock in.
We gotta lock in here. Make sure this goes well. But Northwood, same composition, Jesse's last round, and I'm a little shocked considering this is a very weak point for a lot of these heroes. Although you are Lep and you're riding on a wall, you're okay with this approach. Get the boop on a saving Joe, which you will take over losing Rocket any day of the week. That, on the other hand, is a much bigger problem.
And all of a sudden, peekaboo. Trade. What a boop by Lep to eliminate Racer, but regardless, it's appearing to be a first cap for Arcadia. It will be just not the touch in time from Rocket or Lep.
Oof, that was close. A rather gutsy push, but that was baited Pip in to an overextension as Painkiller just got back from the respawn earlier. It is Arcadia in control of the point. They're kind of chilling. It's hard for Northwood's composition to be on the objective. So there's a room for Racer to buy time, although they do get off the objective in the cost of keeping their Mauga alive.
Yeah, which as long as you can kind of engage quickly, then it's worth. But in that case, not so much. Pip just absolutely sniped. So is Aruda, and that's pretty much fight done here for Northwood, and Chronic just going for the clip. At this point, we'll have to settle for a normal elimination, but Arcadia may be starting to be picked apart with this composition. For somehow, some way, it is the Widowmaker on Oasis that is really giving them some issues. Aruda, one fight on the Cassidy, maybe trying to do a Painkiller a bit more, and decides to call it quits. Goes right back over to the Tracer that has brought him so much success so far.
Yeah, I think this has worked out well for Arcadia. I mean, Chronic, yeah, he might get one of your heads, but surely he can't get 4 people at once. Saving Joe realizes that as a kunai to his dome. Arcadia want to be on the point a lot safer now. Rocket did end up using the duplicate in a small room. It burns through Racer's health bar. Even if it doesn't do all that much in terms of living. Both support ults now out from CJ and Lep, and yeah, that is plenty them to be able to work, but a hefty investment for Northwood after losing the Widowmaker, and more than enough to help them clutch this up.
Yeah, well, way more than enough to win off that fight. And I got mines to still stall this out on point. Arcadia, you have a lot of tools to get in here and to survive, but it's going to be actually getting that second elimination. That could be a little bit tricky, considering how this is going. That's a minefield very early on the Racer. It forces that cardiac overdrive.
Sound barrier, more importantly, and Pip didn't even get the beat through all of that. Rocket's able to finish him off, and he even grabbed the second onto Rapture on the opposite side. So this split competition from Northwood is slowly starting to pick apart this Scarlet Knights team, was doing so good at playing together. Racer does get 2 out of the cage fight. He just doesn't have any friends to back him up on this point. But you don't have another option. It's Northwood in overtime. Smalga needs to live as long as humanly possible and ensure the flip happens.
Pip will still be pretty deep in the enemy lines, and CJ doesn't often lose those 1v1s, and now Northwood will slowly just collapse onto Arcadia, and there's not much they can do, Molly.
Yeah, down both DPS here is Northwood inching closer to 3 ultimates on this last foot. Rocket, again, thriving in these environments where he can live in these scrappy skirmishes, avoid these large team fights, and just go for assassination kills. Northwood found their stride here at the end of Oasis, but dare I say, Arcadia will continue to give them a run for their money. Timberwolves take map 1.
Yeah, maybe not the exact comp or style we thought that was going to end up, but Northwood, on Arcadia's map pick, will steal it away. And now we get to go into this back and forth of where are we going next. But a pretty decent showing from Arcadia to start off this series. If you are a team going against a team this caliber, like a Northwood, you know, a Winthrop, stuff like that, you need to make sure you start off strong. If you kind of start off on the wrong foot, they're going to grab the momentum and just run with it the rest of the series. So at least Arcadia, there is some things that did work during that map that hopefully they can continue on through the rest of the series. But you got to think a Maga ban is also coming at some point here from Northwood, knowing what Arcadia are hoping to run.
Yeah, I think for Arcadia, they show they have great fundamentals on this Maga comp. They know how to stick together. They're not getting too lost in the sauce, other than when Chronic is just clicking heads, and there's just little you can do about that with that composition. But I think with that, there's a lot of great life signs from this roster. Is it enough to win the series yet? We're not going to go that far. But take a map, or at least keep these maps close. Absolutely, I think there is potential there if Northwood or continue to play what they are playing now. And with the map pick and ban going over to Arcadia here, I wonder if they do continue to force this Mauga type of style on like a New York City or something along those lines, so that they can play as this 5-man unit.
Yeah, it's going to just be run it down, snowball. That's all Arcadia want to do. I don't see them really trying to do too much else unless the Mog is banned, and then maybe we, switch it around a little bit on what they hope to achieve. But yeah, this is a very interesting style of play. Again, not one that has been played for a while here, at least in North America. We've seen, especially like Saudi teams in OWCS, have kind of thrown this back into the mix here and there to kind of mixed results. But no, especially with the fact that, we have Zarya kind of nerfed a tiny bit, not really a ton, but maybe not as oppressive. Now that Vendetta also got nerfed, that key combo is gone. But still, I would say right now, Diva, Zarya to a degree are two of the best tanks we have in the game right now. Mongus maybe 3rd or 4th right now. I'd say Ramatra is in a pretty decent spot with some of the changes that he got this patch, but Maga is definitely not a hero you can kind of just push away like we could, for a few months there. He's still a very good option for teams wanting to bring kind of that different style to these games.
Yeah, and I think that we kind of talk about this when Mauga's hard meta, is the teams that you might see these larger, I guess, mechanical skill gaps or like individual differences. Mauga Cups close it a ton. And not necessarily because it's just lower skill expression, but it highlights team play a lot more. And it is something that Arcadia showed. Watchpoint Gibraltar, on the other hand, I think is the complete opposite of that. And I think this is an incredibly bold choice out of Arcadia to go there, considering the team that they are against. But they're going to do it and sub in Holiday for Racer. So the Mauga is gone. We're doing some form of dive, presumably, since the Diva is available again.
Maybe just ban out the ball. That just kind of wrecked your team. No, it's the Widow.
Oh, yeah, fair. You gotta do that. Wait,
You know what?
Fair
That's
enough.
fair. Fair enough. You got Chronic on the other side. You want to get rid of that immediately. You can maybe deal with the Wrecking Ball. It'll actually be a Brig ban from Northwood. So taking away that Brig Ana support line that we often get here on Watchpoint, maybe we get instead on a Kiriko. Juno's even been played here and there,
Yardi,
or
maybe?
even more Alari, especially from Northwood. I don't know if Arcadia would do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see CJ on the Alari even more.
I mean, he was playing it the entirety of Oasis. I cannot imagine him stopping here, especially if
Better
there's no
map for
like
it.
Widowmaker on the other side. So yeah, great map for it. A little concerned about this. I think this needs to be eyes on Chronic 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Both from Observer, because I really want to see what he does, because it's cool. But also for Arcadia, you cannot let this guy just exist for free. In the very few moments that I think he didn't have pressure on him back on Oasis, he was coming up with like 2-3 final blows, which should be illegal for
a little wild.
most players. But yeah, no, Northwood will be starting on the defense, Painkiller, starting on the Wrecking Ball. By the looks of it, and Chronic back to his OG signature when he really started to pop off in the Freya.
Yeah, we don't see Freya a ton. It was kind of the Emre rise for a while there. And Freya, and paired that with some nerfs for her, kind of fell away. But especially in a map like this where you just want to kind of jump up, get some shots off, kind of fade back down, and just kind of rotate that through, the Freya can still be a very solid option. It will be the Ana Kiriko instead of that Alari for Northwood, at least for the time being, and Painkiller staying on the Wrecking Ball. Going to be a little bit of a TP hook strat for Arcadia to start off, and then we'll get to see what they're really trying to cook.
Oh, they got it!
worked.
No, but the Suzu! Okay, Lep still goes down there. I think it's the first time I've ever seen that strategy work, but is it really working since Rocket just got two and everybody's dead? It was great in theory. That was the closest success I've seen that TP play in a while. But no, it will be a full comp swap now for Arcadia that they've got a taste of what Northwood has.
Well, positive, it did get a pick.
Yeah.
Negative, it didn't win you the fight at all. It was kind of an avalanche of eliminations from Northwood from that point forward. But now North, again, this is such a hard position to push into. Chronic is just going to send pop shots left and right, and Rocket is in your back line.
Yeah, and he might get Pip here. No, he's saying, I'll prioritize my life, which, considering you're in the enemy spawns, that's a good idea. Poor Aruda. Aruda's just not having a good time at all.
No.
Between Painkiller and Chronic, who's absolutely had his number, has not been able to play the game, and it's so difficult, I think, if you're Holiday, to peel for this Wrecking Ball constantly. Painkiller can easily leave out of these engages.
Oh, very easily can just dip on out. And yeah, this is just Northwood suffocating Arcadia in this opening choke point. Only 9 meters this card has been pushed so far. Through a minute and a half. If math isn't your greatest subject, that's okay. Not great is the answer right now. And something needed to change, and whoa, that was a ridiculous deflex from Aruda.
Yeah, I think the Genji is a good idea to start, but I mean, Northwood coming up on 4 ultimates to go. Great Suzu from Lep. That would have been a very dead CJ, and not been for that split-second timing. Bull shot out from Chronic will finish off Rapture. A triple kill for him. He's going to be record pace to that next Bulla.
This is borderline bullying. Like, this is just a little ridiculous from Northwood. Still have Nanoblade ready to go during this fight. More swaps come out now from Arcadia. Pip will go back onto that Sombra that I think he was on for a fight or two. And Holiday will be on the Hazard now, but is already crit.
Yeah, poor Holiday. And Nanoblade there. Or not Nanoblade, just Dragonblade. Nano on that Painkiller on the opposite end, which makes it even more of a threat, arguably. Oh, poor Rapture, so close to the spawns as well. And Arcadia, they're switching things up a lot, and perhaps too much. You're kind of running out of time to make something work. Hopefully, this is it for Holiday.
You kind of just keep spinning that wheel that you find at a lot of these amusement parks. Like, eventually, the jackpot's going to hit. But how many spins is it going to take, and how much is it going to cost? Well, sounds like even more. Painkiller finds 2. Minefields are just scattered across the points, and Arcadia will have to retreat once again as Pip gets staggered out. Only a minute to go here for Arcadia, and a long ways to go before even a decent push is achieved. That's
Holiday. And he might be fine, maybe.
No,
barely.
no.
Oh, no, he's good. Has the hacked health pack. I like the Sombra for the hacked health packs. The only way I can see this going well for Arcadia is if you can get an ult dump fight off, which you can. It's not going to get you the point, though. Just perhaps out of the spawn. The Kitsune rush now for Lep, and all right, there you go. Rapiture put the Tidal Blast onto Aruda. Got in there. There's a couple of picks going the way of Arcadia. In fact, they're going to look to clean this one up. I mentioned they needed an ult dump. It's just the support ults for now.
Painkiller's just running around like, hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, at least for Arcadia. Blade EMP can come up, but they still have such a long ways to go. They just hit the halfway mark. Holiday cannot afford to die here. Like, under no circumstance.
I mean, he'll be okay. He did have to use the adaptive shield. I was going to say, who couldn't die is Pip. You needed that EMP a lot for this fight. I mean, it's on to Aruda now. If he can come up with something, that'd be great. He'll get CJ. Drops back down, but a boop from Lep will kind of be the end of that specific pursuit. Pip will be back in the fight shortly, but without Holiday to contest the payload, I don't think it's going to be enough time for him to get that EMP off. Will be Arcadia getting full held by Northwood in a suffocating defense.
Yeah, and Northwood just did not allow Arcadia any sort of room to even create any set play. You can look here, 0 deaths for Painkiller. Did not die throughout that entire round, and Chronic only had 1 death. Leading the way in eliminations on the other side of Ruda has only got 5. So, yeah, rough is the definition of that attack here for Arcadia. But still, again, this is a phase of the map, especially here on Watch Point. You can hold the end of first phase for egregiously long. There's a reason why we see a lot of full holds on this map, is because at this point right here, and the car, in my opinion, just got enough around that corner to where you can try and hold this position, but it is still quite the tall order, and it's going to be a little bit of creativity from Arcadia. It's that Alaria that we were talking about that we thought we would see from CJ, but it's going to be on a Rapiture instead.
Okay, so Rapiture there. I'm surprised you commented on that before you did the on-run that Pip is currently locking in.
Maybe I'm numb to it.
Really? This is like the second time ever I'm seeing on-run. The first was earlier today, so I don't know. Maybe it's just me. On-run in this level of play is a bit of a new thing, and I think if you're Arcadia, you want something sustainable, I guess, and trying something that perhaps Northwood are confused by to catch him off guard. But Holiday, the jump gets disrupted, and the bio nade. Yeah, that's a rough start. Red does jump down from the high ground. That felt a little personal onto Chronic, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, just a tad personal. This
Pip's in the
cart
spawn.
just starting to move. Yeah, Pip, what is the game plan here, my friend? CJ's just hiding. Not wanting any sort of fight with Pip, and they may actually find each other here. Can we get... I think they're just right next to each other on sides
I
of
think
the
might
wall.
be.
Oh, yep, to the left, to the left.
Yep, there we go. I think there was an attempt to set up an early dive from Arcadia, but everyone died before they could do it, so Pip was just kind of vibing here. Will grab the health back, but as 2 players, potentially 3, on his tail, one of which has a flashbang, actually manages to get Rocket and get out with his life, which is way more than should have been bargained for. You take those, absolutely, if you are Arcadia. This payload, though, in a dangerously close position. But this fight is happening so sporadically all over the map that it's hard to know where to look. Painkiller.
He's like, hey, CJ, kill me.
Yeah, so Painkiller's forced back for the time being. Aruda in a heap of trouble, but a great flashbang stops the roll and actually ends Painkiller's life. So perhaps there is some hope for Arcadia to hold on so far.
Yeah, Northwood is very split right now. And Arcadia take full advantage of it so far. If I can, just try to be a menace on that low ground when a lot of the fight has shifted up on a height. And Arcadia just kind of have to respect that space, give up a lot of it, and try and just punish Painkiller on the engage like that.
Well, it is technically both tanks down just because Holiday did get mexed through that. And I think if you're Arcadia, you're kind of... okay, that's not so great. This late stagger is rough, and Chronic... once he starts hitting one-shots, feels like all the other starts to just snowball on it. It'll be Nano Boost now on there, Ruda. That'll be another turn onto this Cassidy of Chronic, which I know he's definitely going to feel good about, but what doesn't feel great is having to push into this minefield. Nano Boost and Painkiller, mind you. And there's just nobody to touch. Saving Joe was the last hope, but cannot get it done. Northwood will move up to 2-0.
2 down, 2 to go here for Northwood to claim the NECC title, but we'll see if they can keep it up. Chronic, we said it at the top of the map, his signature hero, kind of what rose him to prominence last season in OWCS, continued to be the case here on Watch Point Gibraltar. Just the micro from him is egregious. And yeah, Arcadia, that was more of the map we feared for the Scarlet Knights, considering the run Northwood has been on. Like, they beat Fisher twice to get here, who is kind of solidify themselves at number 3 and number 2 here at NECC. So yeah, so far Arcadia kind of fighting an uphill battle, but again, they've shown signs that they can bring this out. It is just trying to find that right map and the right comp.
I am, again, a fan of going back to this Malga. You'll never hear me say that again. I think it is just
I was about to say...
It is where I think they're going to have the most hope at making these games close. I think it sets up Pip really well on this Vendetta. Aruda, I think, looked better on the Cassidy, too, for the back part of that map. Again, it's just going to be map dependent on where this team decides to go, what bans will actually be in place for these rosters. And, you know, this is more the form that I think we expected Northwood to be in coming into this series and seeing this matchup today. And once they kind of found it and they settle in there, Jesse, I don't know if there's anything that could stop them.
No, it is really, it just feels like you're going up against a buzzsaw right now if you were Arcadia. And, you know, eventually, let's see if they can change it around. But right now, it is just not looking great for Arcadia. They have to find some sort of map. I will agree with you. The Maga, for me, is what I would return to. But if you pick a rush map that screams Maga, Northwood may just ban it. So that's the issue that you're going to run into here.
I think you have to protect ban if you're going to do that.
Yeah,
if
you
you
have
had some
to.
sort of tank. Although I don't know if you want to ban the Wrecking Ball, per se, because it was kind of going well. But we'll touch base on that at a later point, because we are going to send it to a quick break, give Arcadia a little bit more time to cook, and come back with the continuation of our Division 1 NECC final. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Overwatch right after this.
Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard.
Nothing cuts quite like a memory, especially one that you're trying to forget. But I can't find the energy to rewind and reset. I know you don't wanna be used, but you use me to build up. You build up to break me
on to map number 3 here for our Division 1 NECC Overwatch Finals. Northwood currently leading 2-0 and looking to extend that further after a steamroll of a Watchpoint Gibraltar map. Ball is in Arcadia's courts, but what can you do to stop Northwood? As we're going to take a look at their uncommon traits from so far this series, Jesse. This team in particular said it so far. Not only are they the best team in Collegiate, they are arguably the best set team in North America. If you put all of those pieces together, and I'm starting to wonder, what else can Arcadia throw back at them?
Yeah, we'll take a look here at Northwood first. It's just like you said, it's a juggernaut of a team. It is so difficult to even just pick one thing, but we went off first. Just keep rolling. For 2 things. A, the momentum completely now in their court, but also the wrecking ball has been fantastic so far from Painkiller, both DPS. Rocket, especially in map 1, Chronic, as you just saw on Watchpoint, really locking it down. And then Stay Locked. This is a team that, historically speaking, can get a little creative and loose with it. So if they want to lock this down, don't give Arcadia too much room to start building that upset.
Yeah, I don't want to see a Northwood. I feel like a Northwood Classic is, we're doing too well. Let's have fun, and then suddenly it's not fun because you start losing. I've seen that a couple times from this roster in particular. So staying locked, I think, will be key if they're looking to close out this series in a full 4-map sweep. On the other side, though, for Arcadia and their uncommon traits, they gave us a very close map number 1, and it's because Malgan time, honestly. We talked about how Malga can kind of close some of those individual gaps that we see between players when you're playing as a death ball. So those two go in together. And the Pip Vendetta, of course, I think I looked fantastic on the times that we did get to see it played. It was very difficult for everybody on Northwood to get out unscathed if that dive was successful. So, as we look to our next map, Jesse, 2 out of these 3 things, if not all 3, seem highly likely for the Scarlet Knights to pull out.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think the Malga, as long as a Protect Band goes in, is going to be used when whatever map they decide to go on next. We'll let you find out here in just a moment. It's going to be Atlas. So going over to Flashpoint, wanting to play that very quick and loose style. Maybe try and catch Northwood off on some of these rotations. And let's see here, the bans that come on in. I have a feeling, yeah, some sort of Protect ban will be coming. I think it has to here. If they want to continue playing the Malga. It's been the only thing that has had something go right during this series so far.
Yeah, and we do have confirmation that Racer will be coming back into this lineup as well. So, as we do, since we know that, we can only assume that the Malga will return. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's just a matter of what does Northwood ban. If the tank's left open, absolutely take that away. If it's not, I guess the Vendetta maybe something to do with the support comp. They haven't played Kiriko they played a little bit of Kiriko, I guess, on that first start of Watchpoint Gibraltar defense, but other than that, they're perfectly happy playing some wacky support comps in classic CJ Lep fashion.
Yeah, and it sounds like, well, we had bans ready for you. And then it sounds like there's a sub last second that needs to go in for Northwood. So we have to redo bans. Because that was said after the bans were initially done. So Arcadia, may pick differently depending on what is all changing here for Northwood. So we'll take a second here. And we just got shown what the change is.
Oh!
Braden has subbed in for Painkiller. It sounds like Painkiller has warm-up for Face It. So Braden, who has subbed in before, actually was, I think, playing when Arcadia beat Northwood just at the beginning of the season. So revenge for Braden on the line now here for Northwood as an extra storyline. Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, he plays Malga, right? We've seen quite a bit of that from this guy. So
could this be Malga time?
Yeah, on both sides, which I guess defeats the just keep rolling. Part of the just keep rolling meaning unless he pulls the wrecking ball, but bans have been confirmed as well. It will be the Zarya out of Arcadia, so still assumably protecting that Malga and also taking something away from Braden. And then that Lucio. I wondered if that would be a pain point for this Arcadia roster is Deathball gets a lot harder if you don't have that consistent speed to back it up.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more tricky, and to give you kind of a peek behind the curtain, that was not the initial ban from Northwood before things
No.
changed. The Zarya was the same. Arcadia didn't change at all. We all knew they were going to do a protect ban of some sort. It was Cassidy at first, and then
Ooh.
Brayden got subbed in, and then it turned into Lucio. So maybe they weren't going to counter. They were probably going back to the ball. If I had to guess, if Painkiller was still in, but now that Brayden has subbed into this team, they want to, you know, kind of just match that Maga more than likely. And that is why we'll see the Lucio ban instead. But let's see what Northwood wants to do with this sub. And actually, well, this is just all over the place. I don't even know where to start.
You know, we'll see what Razor's going to do. I was actually wondering about Juno Brig. I feel like Juno Brig is great on this map, and you don't have a Lucio. So, saving Joe and Rapture, that is, I think, the most reasonable thing that I'm looking at on the Arcadia University side, with the exception of maybe like Aruda on the Tracer. Brayden though on the Sigma, I think it's something he's definitely well known for. Now, on this map in particular, expecting the Malga, I'd say it makes sense, but surprise, surprise, Jesse, Racer's rolling out on something a little different.
Going out on the Reinhardt, which as long as you can close the gap, which granted, with no Lucio is a little bit more tricky, but this is going to be an awkward tank brawl here for Brayden.
Yeah, this was played out in OWCS just the other day, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Dallas Fuel mate who pulled out the Reinhardt on Atlas. It's a very brawly point. It still follows a similar idea with the Death Ball, but you have less agency as the Reinhardt. It's more focused on protecting the core of your team, which, with how mobile Pip and Aruda are, they don't need the protecting. It's instead, they need to find the flank that was CJ that whole time.
Yeah, it's when you're trying to play around a DPS like that, usually you're playing around the Emre or the Soj or, you know, whatever hit scan you have going on. You can't really do that with this. Like you said, like Pip and,
Oh
well,
my
Aruda,
God.
well, Aruda's body is now on low ground. But there's not much you can really do about it.
No, you're just kind of you just sit there like, I'm gonna hold my shield team. Please keep me alive, and you just can't with turning around to face Rocket. You have CJ on the flank, and Rocket or Chronic doing whatever the heck he's just did to Aruda at the start of that fight. So
What is it with Chronic and Aruda, man?
Actually,
Like
I'm
we
saying-
saw it at Oasis, now here on Atlas. I don't know, man. Chronic, I don't know if it's unsettled beef or what, but it has been him all day against Aruda.
I wonder if Arcadia are like, someone's got to deal with this guy. Aruda, go kill.
Yeah, go
But
get him.
You go get him, and like maybe not go kill specifically, just distract long enough or live long enough so that we can take some space here. And it's a hard job. I think there's so few players that can effectively jump and give this guy a hard time. It will be 199% though for Northwood. They already have pipped down the Reinhardt experiment for Arcadia, not paying off in this first objective. Doing a rush from CJ, more than enough to shut him down, and why not just a last shot under a
Yeah, good God, Chronic, regardless of what he's been on today, lighting it up in Arcadia. Here come the swaps. So Aruda will go over to the Cassidy, try and contest Rocket a little bit, and it'll be Racer on the Ramachu, who again, yeah, just got some changes. That major perk that pretty much everybody used for his Vortex is now just Comet. You get it regardless.
Yeah.
But it can't help you from a Gravitic Flux or an Overclock. And yeah, this will be Northwood just taking over.
They did that really early though, so I guess it does give Arcadia more time to reset, or I guess less loss percentage, but I think at the end of the day, you weren't expecting a ton from that fight with the swaps that you had to make.
Yeah, it'll be Cap going over to Northwood. Pip is able to get out. Actually, well, Orbital used by saving Joe early.
And left. Both of them ended up pulling it out. And Rocket decided to use the blade there, which I think would have been great had there not been a rallying Brig like 2 inches from his face when he started to do it. So he'll get shut down rather quickly, and it gets Arcadia that flip back over. And Northwood completely shut out at this point. Pip gonna get the final blow on the left. That's a nice stagger.
Yeah, nice little stagger, and can at least start getting something building here, as no supports for Northwood, but this is still a very messy fight, to say the least. But eventually, it looks like Arcadia are going to be able to stabilize-ish. I don't know.
I don't know. Chronic's still alive. I don't think anybody's stable or anything anywhere until Chronic is like buried 6 feet under, and then maybe add like another 6 feet of dirt on top of that just to like double check. So yeah, they'll be Northwood getting that flip back over for some hit scan heroics.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, Chronic is just ridiculous right now. I don't know if it's like the OWCS season, at least before land being done or what, but he has just been ridiculous during this game. They still have Kitsune Rush if they just want to pump it into Chronic more. Second overclock of the game is already online.
And he's flanking behind the rotation. Aruda is dead again, this time to CJ, so at least gets a break from the Chronic pain train, but is forced back. Racer, I like the idea of the Annihilation, especially with it being final fight. He'll get both Brayden and Lep, which is two of the most stabilizing parts of this Northwood comp. Racer just doesn't have the health to deal with. The health pack was stolen away by CJ, or rather guarded for Aruda to come in and finish him off. It seems that this point is just over, though. I mean, Rocket has so much support at his back. They'll get a little bit of extra percentage, or rather stall time, because Aruda could blink in and out a couple times before these full swaps start to roll out for what could be the third and final flashpoint. Both teams now on the Mauga.
Yeah, Braid's like, you know what, why not? Let's just go Morgan time. And Racer, for a second went Sigma, I was like, you know what, let's just do it. No reason not to. That is rude, Racer. It's like he knows he's being watched. And he's like, well, let's put on a little bit of a music show there. But yeah, this is going to have to be quite the impressive turnaround as Chronic is holding on to this charge.
He's waiting for someone to peek their head. I think it was going to be Pip if CJ didn't find him first. But, ooh, as another option.
That was saving Joe.
Yeah, I mean, he's got overclock now, and Racer backing up straight into it. This guy's permanently on the flank, and whoo! Fadeaway shot on the saving Joe. Turns around, sees the Riddle's like, hey, I know this guy. I'll get the recall on out, but yeah, no tank for Arcadia. Very few options for stall. So Northwood get themselves yet another first cap going.
Yeah, first cap for Northwood. Just lose Rocket. Which granted, yes, has the blade, but we'll see. Maybe goes into another rally from the Rapiture, which is not the greatest combination to go against last time. Let's see if it'll go on this time. Is Clean's already at least out from CJ? May leave the door open here for Aruda.
Again, I think if Rocket doesn't face check the rally, it's okay. Yeah, he's gonna go for saving Joe. Instead, much more success, and then turn around, grab Rapiture after a nice stomp there from Brayden, taking about half the health away. Speaking of half, that's half the point now for Northwood University. And all they needed was a Dragon Blade to do it. Aruda comes in, grabs a couple, but actually has 3 for the Tracer. An insane turnaround, all things considered. He just doesn't have enough team to make much of it, though.
Yeah, it's just, you can tell, Northwood is like, you know, we can just kind of play around. It's all right. We can kind of chill for a sec. And now Cage might into Kitsune, ready to answer.
But the orbital rate is just so much better from saving Joe. That will outswing that Kitsune Rush any day of the week, especially with how low Brayden's health bar already was at the start of that engagement. But Lepsa wants to commit down TJ and Brayden at a 3v5 essentially for Northwood. I'm gonna give it a shot, which, hey, Chronic can land the shots. I'd say go for it, but he is forced well out of the fight, and in fact, Pip will finish him off with a duplicated Sojourn. And there you go. It seems Arcadia have finally found some stability on their own map pick, and it's Pip lighting it up with his overclock.
Yeah, the duplicate overclock finds 2, and Arcadia can finally build upon their first point percentage of this map so far. It is just, can you continue to extend it? Nothing here for Northwood ult-wise, but if you're Arcadia, you cannot play too close to the sun, and that's kind of exactly what Racer's doing.
Oh, Rocket's dash got denied, pulled from around the corner. Great cage from Racer to isolate this fight, and because of the way that this is timed, Jesse, that should just deny Northwood a final fight altogether, or at least a good one.
Yeah, there should be, yeah, oh my, CJ's here. When did you get here, brother?
Well, I don't think he's gonna be here much long. Oh, whoa. And Razor's dead! Chronic overclocked in the front line. CJ's just like, well, if no one's here, I'm just gonna have the point. Rocket grabs another shot through Aruda's face, looking for another on a saving Joe. Eventually shuts him down, but nobody can get back to the point at the end. Oh, Northwood snuck it right back out from the Scarlet Knights. As soon as they thought they had it, it'll be match point now for the Division 1 Overwatch Finals.
what just happened? like what just happened during the final minute of that map? I thought Arcadia had it, but I guess not. And yeah, this was a great orbital raid during this fight. It started bringing the momentum back into Arcadia's favor, but it's just not enough. Northwood with CJ just flanking in the back as Kiriko lines it up. The overclock from Chronic in the front. The pinch is just too good. And now Northwood one map away from taking it here in the spring semester for NECC D1.
Yeah, I think that's a rough way for the map to end.
That
to be
was
so
really
close.
rough.
Oh, that's actually painful. It was just a sneaky play from Lep, which I don't know how the heck he managed to stay alive as long as he did, but hey, you take those. If you're the Timberwolves, match point now for this team as they are looking to speed run their way through these grand finals. Leaves Arcadia with one final decision, and I think in our minds, seeing the success the Malga Comp had on map number 1, Flashpoint would have been the best map type for him. It's now set and gone. What do you do next, Jesse?
Push? I would say push in my opinion, but I really don't know, man. It just feels like there's not many options left. You could go to King's Row, I guess. Try and keep, again, more of a compact map can work for the Maga. But I think right now it's tough because even a lot of the push maps right now, you can run the dive, you can run a whole lot of looks, and a lot of them are high ground favored that are currently in the map pool, which is a certain issue for a certain hit scan on the other side. And it just makes it way more complicated for Arcadia. It's going to be a rough one here. I think there's a reason why Northwood, even though they came from lowers due to, other circumstances. I think I was talking with Brain before this, kind of getting an idea of how they were feeling. And he was like, yeah, honestly, that's my bad. I forgot to relay that the team had a game. So we didn't have people due to OWCS, and we forfeited. I'm like, okay. So like Arcadia, granted, they get the Nationals points for getting top 2, which I think from what I was looking at may have actually qualified them for Nationals. So they're at pretty okay, honestly, with how this is all played out. But for this game in particular, man, it's been just all Northwood so far.
Yeah, and I think for Arcadia, it's more of a we're happy we're here kind of thing. They've been around, like hovering this top 20 for a while before this semester, but I think these last couple months is where they have hit their stride fully and given us the full potential of this roster. Do have the picks in. It is Runa Soppy with a Sigma ban targeted at Brayden, and Runa will be taken away from the Tracer. And I feel bad. Like I feel like I'm kind of just not gonna run it down. He's tried his best. Like there's only so much that he can do. He's been one of the bright spots
for this team. He really has been great. Like some of these pulse bombs have been fantastic. It's just when you have so much going on in this series right now, it's hard. And I think that's why Northwood is like, okay, this is a fantastic Tracer map as well. There's so many little alleyways, and you get the jump pad in mid, which makes the mobility, which makes it way easier for a Tracer. Usually, if you have that kind of verticality on a map, you're wanting to go more towards the Genji for that dash, but with that jump pad in the middle, Tracer is like immediately better on that map. So, kind of getting rid of that, you just let Rocket continue to play Genji, and Chronic to continue to play Soj, and there's no issues.
No, I think Rocket has definitely had the upper hand when it's come to that Genji. When we got the little glimpse of it back on Watchpoint Gibraltar there. So, Rudasabi, not expecting to be that much different. As Northwood again on match point, Division 1 title on the line as Arcadia. See how much fight they still have left in them as we head into what could be the last map for NECC Division 1. No substitutions on either side. Rosters remaining the same there. Let's see what these teams are looking to run.
And more Morgan time. What a shock from Arcadia. Even though with that Tracer being banned, I do like this Echo. I think the Echo can really work out well for Arcadia if they continue to hold it. Northwood, Brayden, what are we doing? The horse? Granted, it's not... It's kind of like a net zero against the Maga. Yes, you can use that jab spin to deny a lot of that cardiac overdrive self-heal. But Racer can also kind of just run over Orisa at times. So let's see how this one plays out. I'm not sure.
CJ's on the Ana, I guess, and Chronic still farms, like, off Racer. That's kind of the nice part about the Sojourn here, is that you're just a big old walking railgun battery for the Northwood Sojourn dude. So how that works out. Sleep Dart already put on a Racer. I'm expecting a Javelin or something along the lines to follow it, but nope, Nade will go wide from CJ. That cooldown exchange from Yana is gone, and Racer's like, all right, I'm going in. I know there's a lot less threat for me now. Still gets chunked down well below 200 HP. Brayden does a little bit of a wraparound. It's getting a little dicey for both of these teams, but it is absolutely Northwood in a better situation with that nade from CJ coming back online at the end.
Yeah, that was just a great fight from Northwood. Yes, you lose CJ, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. As Arcadia now have at least a better idea of what they're going against. Saving Joe, these cleanses are going to be incredibly important, especially with these bio nades from CJ, which again, with that buff in the new season, 2 seconds earlier on the cooldown.
Yeah, which is still an insane amount. Like, Ana, yeah, you're a pretty stoppable target if you position wrong, but it's CJ we're talking about, I highly doubt we'll see him in a crazy spot. Rapture, on the other hand, found themselves in Chronic's crosshairs there. No longer has a head to work with. So, Arcadia do a decent job of going in to trade it out and are actually coming up with the better picks in this fight. Focusing beam from Aruda over the top. Perhaps this Echo is just that next pick that if the Genji wasn't working, this is a good spot for him to land.
Yeah, no, this is great. An EMP ready as well from Pip, which is basically just been hacking Brayden and making Brayden play passive. Like, that has really been the only game plan, but it's been working so far. So, now Pip, well, that was a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay, though. EMP, I think, is going to be a big thing here for Arcadia. Gotta live good flashbacks to Watchpoint Gibraltar there. I wonder if we're going to see it now. Has the Terror Surge online? Oh, there's my. Where'd Brady go? I don't know. He's dead. Yeah, great focus fire there from Arcadia after that hack came through. Very well timed all around. And you shut Chronic out of the overclock. This is the Scarlet Knights firing on all cylinders. They got the forward spawns, Jesse, and they only needed, what, the Kitsune and Dupe to do it.
Yeah, they still have EMP holding on. CJ will eventually give up on the Ana. We'll just match the Kiriko of Saving Joe. And now they can go right back in. Ricks are already jabbed. This is going to be a tricky spot to get out of, but we'll just jump off the top ropes to rejoin with the rest of their team. EMP still in Pip's hands. Brayden been holding on to this Terra Surge for a minute.
Yeah, he's kind of just chilling over here, okay. But, okay, well, there's the goes the EMP. At least he didn't lose it in the process. It's actually a decent investment. Brayden popped the Terror Surge at the tail end. Probably didn't need it if you're Northwood. How well Rocket was just slicing things up there, but you'll take it and cancel forward spawns for Arcadia.
Yeah, everybody will spawn close, though, for now. Aruda will be the last in, but still it gets to the close spawn. As now, well, as you know, they haven't been flipped here. Arcadia just get a touch. Oh,
that's actually huge. Razor places down the cage, which doesn't grab anybody. It was a get away from me. I'm scary cage. Lep is on a mission, which somehow he's allowed to continue, but actually skates away from it. Okay, which is good, because that sound barrier is needed for this EMP that I guess we are just never going to see as Pip dies every time we think he's about to set that one up. But for Arcadia, they moved around to the butt. They got all the way back to where the barrier was. So even if they end up losing this fight, they should still be able to touch before forwards.
This basically take almost a minute off the time bank for nothing. Yeah. And like we said, it was what, 0.12 meters? That was the difference between forward spawns actually getting reset. So that was a giant help for the Scarlet Knights to get set back up. They won't contest it this time, though. They'll start getting set up underneath, and Pip has to live for this EMP. Sure. Try number 3.
Third time for the charm. Yeah. That's what we call this. There we go. Now that's an EMP we wanted to see, but you didn't get left. That was the one guy you had to hit with the EMP. He has the sound barrier, cushions all the overhealth, and is that an Ajax out of Rapture? I really hope it wasn't. I didn't catch it, but Arcadia, either way, are very dead, and yeah, a bit of a disaster of that EMP engage fight.
Yeah, like I said, the one person you need to hit is Lep, right? The sound barrier can change everything. Even if you don't hit CJ, yes, maybe that's some of that immediate damage from the cleanse you won't have, but that's fine. But that was the one person you desperately needed to hit with that. Northwood will gain so much real estate from that pick alone, but there will be another fight with the dupe online before forward spawns are activated.
it's gonna be a chaotic one. The overclock comboed up with the Terra Surge pulls everyone into Chronic's LOS, or whether you're there or not, you're gonna find yourselves back looking at the sights of spawn momentarily. Northwood clean this one up, get themselves forward spawns, and much closer to taking the lead.
Yeah, just 25 meters from the lead, 4.5 minutes, and now Pip on the on-run here. And Aruda over to the Soj. Some more changes coming out from the Scarlet Knights. Blade and Beat about to be online here for Northwood. They could just continue snowballing this, Molly.
Yeah, and I just don't know how you do deal with this. If you're Arcadia, you have a cage fight perhaps for Racer, but he's just gonna die if he's not careful. In fact, Lep and Rocket will make sure of it. There's that Beat Blade combo we were talking about. Racer falls before the cage fight is even an option. Northwood will get that lead after having that ultimate advantage they maintain from the previous fight.
Yeah, ult advantage carries over. Northwood on the potential march to the D1 championship here in NECC. Just about 30 or so meters away from making that a reality with the Kitsune Rush in hand. And already Aruda's gone.
Yeah, Chronic and Aruda, but it tails all the time, or at least as long as the series is bay. He's gonna add Pip, though, to his pile of bodies as Northwood want to end this right here and right now, taking the fight to Arcadia spawn rooms.
Yeah, Braden's just taking a little bit of a field trip on over as Aruda, well, tried to get an opening pick from spawn. Didn't work out.
We do have the cage fight, though, finally for Racer. They just can't finish it off. It's burned through so quickly. Chronic is just finding head after head with this overclock, and we're going more for the road. Yeah, why not? Goodbye, Aruda. One final message from Northwood as they will get themselves the NECC Division 1 Overwatch title.
They are the top of NECC Overwatch for the spring semester. Obviously, Nationals just a month away, and Northwood will be the #1 seed going into that. At least, I don't think mathematically they couldn't be, but I guess I should put an asterisk by that. But yeah, this was, again, given how this was all going to play out, Arcadia, a good showing, right? You know exactly who you're going up against here in Northwood. They had their moments, especially in map 1, but once we got map 2 onwards, Northwood really started to click. Chronic took over this game pretty much. MVP for me, at least. I don't know about you, Molly.
Absolutely.
But it just became the Chronic show, and Arcadia were kind of just trying to salvage anything they could.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do when you're at the mercy of what can be Chronic at his highest levels of performance. So, congratulations again to Northwood on the win. I think it's an expected victory for this team, but one nonetheless, certifying them even further in their current top spot in North American Collegiate.
Oh, 1,000%. Again, there's a reason why they're the #1 team. They've yet to lose a game this season with their full roster, and I think we just saw exactly why in games like that. But yeah, Nationals, guys, we're not over. Like, this is the end of the spring season. We still got weeks and weeks and weeks of games here, from national qualifiers to Nationals in San Antonio, May 14th to 17th. So there is still quite a amount of not just Overwatch, but all of our top games here at NECC to play for.
Absolutely, and all part of the Forge Trials as well, which is brought to us by the Army National Guard, as you can see on your screen. So make sure, go ahead, check them out over at nationalguard.com to find your calling. And yeah, it's so much action, I think, for this NECC semester as we wind down for the season and for today. At a minimum, we of course still have several other divisional titles and finals going on for the rest of next week as we continue to wrap that up further. But as for now, Jesse, we have our Central Division 3 champs in Carthage College and overall Division 1 in Northwood University.
Yeah, two fantastic teams who won their titles tonight. Big thank you to everybody behind the scenes. I mean, we have an incredible production crew, TOs, everything going on. And yeah, Valorant National qualifiers start on Monday for Valorant. Marvel Rivals on Tuesday, Rocket League and CS on a Wednesday, League of Legends on Thursday, and then of course we got Overwatch next Friday going on. So again, this is the end of the spring season, but still plenty of action to go here over the next month.
Absolutely. Just make sure follow NECC on all socials, Twitch, YouTube, and wherever else, Twitter, all of that fun stuff. Stay
All
updated,
stuff.
support these collegiate students in their esports student journeys, and we will go ahead and see you next time for some Valorant on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard.